Peace, family. What it is, we're trying to part two real quick on this, me and Brother Judah Natzarah. So without further ado, let's just get it in and see if we're having the same technical difficulties or not. So just go ahead and start asking your questions, bro.
Yes, shalom everybody out there. My computer's like mad old, so the connection last time might be my fault. My computer's like super old. I got one of them old, the old joints from the '80s. No, I'm joking, but it's pretty old. Anyways,
everything's good right now. So yeah, okay. Let's just praise Yah.
Cool. Hey, so basically, I had a question. You're the first Moor brother that practices, more science that I've seen that ever come out. And, I'm not talking bad about Moors, but they generally act very scary. Like, and I know it sounds horrible, but like, it's true, bro. Because like in the conscious community and all that, whatever, they all like Reggie and all them, they always get on the Moors about being always running and shuckle bucking and whatever, right? So you're really the first Moor to ever sit down and like be like, yeah, okay, I'll build with you. Most of these dudes just be like playing games. They be like, oh, what's up, Judah Natzarah? But like, I know, and me talking to you two, I can tell that Esau doesn't have his hand in your back. I'm not saying that all the Moors have, that they're all controlled puppets, but it, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like the so-called conscious community and the Moors and the Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of them in every sector where Esau, the so-called white man, is running them. He runs their platform. He's giving them money. He tells them what they can and can't say, who they can and can't have on their platform, who to talk to and who not to talk to. So you and I were talking before. I'm not going to mention the platform, but you know who I'm talking about. They get real quiet when I come around because they know that I'm not part of the of that brotherhood. Like we are the temple of Yahweh. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no bending our knee to Baal. There's no white man paying us. There's no none of that. So I do applaud you, brother, for being a stand-up Moor. Perhaps other Moors will follow suit, bro. And you, like you said, you were trying to kind of start your own thing. Bro, I admonish you. I really think you should do that because a lot of these dudes, and I'm talking Israelites too. Both groups are controlled. Like straight up. I'm an Israelite for like over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 43 years old. You know what I'm saying? I've been teaching. You see how I teach.
Right.
It's even the public is like, what's the problem? What's up with these Israelites? They ignore, not ignore, they're like scared of me. Then you have like the conscious community dudes, the Kemet dudes, they're afraid of me. The Moors, they act real funny style, whatever. So, I don't know if that's because these dudes are controlled or they're like compromised or they're in some weird situation. I don't know, but you are literally the first Moor I met that's like actually real, that would like sit down and like, because you even said, do you have any other Torah Knights that want to come on and dialogue? Now, first off,
oh, I lost you. You want to mute or something?
they would never just sit down and talk with Judah Natzarah one-on-one, dialoguing with. He would never do that. Zion Lex. They would never do that. They would never do it. Never. Tahar Kabeh was supposed to have me on this show. No. He had Carl Israel Doctrine, a dude who doesn't even know the Torah, on the show. So I'm like, and the public sees it. They're like, yo, man, this dude Judah Natzarah has been around for years. I think we noticed that y'all are avoiding him. Like, so, I'm real, forward. I keep my foot on these dudes' necks. Because it's just not all of them. But a lot of these dudes are fake, and when they're controlled, if you're a puppet, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's to me, it's offensive to act like you're real when you're controlled. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're supposed to remember we were supposed to have a debate thing, and I was like, yo, man, I don't know, because it's some funny business going on. There's some connections. There's a brotherhood, a secret brotherhood that the Boule. I don't know if you're familiar with them. But I've been going through a bunch of crap with the Boule. I'm not going to say any platform names, but there's a debate platform. It's controlled. The oppressor controls it. Their whole thing is to get money off of our people. keep them in folly and stupidity, and all they do is flag my channels and try to get me off of YouTube. But we wound up like catching one of their agents, and now they had to back up. And what's ill is the public, and I want to thank the public for this, is that little boule, their little plan, it backfired. They had a little Judah Nazareth lynch party where all the little boule weirdos came out and oh, Judah Nazareth's a bad guy, he's making money. I don't get paid a penny for teaching the Torah to our community. That's, they just lied. So the public was like, okay, now all this that they're saying about Judah Nazareth, we know that's a lie. So they quit listening to these dudes. So, but I want to applaud you again for being the first Moor that I've seen that actually stand up, because Lord Abba, that guy is always running. Taharka Bay, playing games. Canaan Land Moors, scared to death. Tosh Tariq Bay, scared to death. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, bruh, the Kemet dudes, scared to death. Everybody on Saw Netter's channel, platform, scared to death. I was on Garfield Reed's channel. He tried to like do some ambush folly, and I wound up making him look stupid. Like, he tried to like go against the Torah. He don't even know Egyptian nothing. He don't even know African history. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm gonna applaud you for being a stand-up brother, and may Yahweh like bless you, and if you're gonna open up a school or or temple, and you're trying to bridge gaps and do things, please, bruh, whatever you do, please don't take that bag, because these other dudes are compromised and they are no benefit to our people.
No, you ain't got to worry about that. Ain't no one gonna try to give me.
Because
back.
If they was real, they would give real people.
You feel me?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was like, you ain't got to worry about no one giving me a bag nor me accepting one, because it ain't gonna happen like that. Like, yeah. But real quick, I just want to interject. So, like Lord Abba doesn't have a platform, so I can kind of hear what you're saying on that. With Taharka Bay, just real specifically, I just want to point this one out. I don't know your particular relations with him or whatever, right? But I will say that I've never seen him back down from having a conversation with Israelites in public. Like, so I deal with like the Mighty Hebrew and whatnot as well, right? Like, I just went to Shabbat class with him on last Saturday, right? Last Shabbat. Beautiful build, right? I've seen Taharka Bay recently build with the Mighty Hebrew and whatnot. So I don't know if you guys have like a scheduling issue because the brother's also busy, but that's between y'all, right? But bottom line is right here, right now, is there's no running from this conversation, and there's no questions that are taboo, and there's many things that are unclear between the Moors and the Israelites that need to get cleared up. There's many misunderstandings that need to get cleared up, and I'm glad that I got you on the bill, because I see that you build from a real mathematical perspective, and you're in them scrolls real deep, and so I'm the same way. I get into scrolls real deep. And so for the people listening, it's going to be a real edifying conversation, because whatever we're talking about, we're going to make people have to crack the scrolls open. So again, whatever question you want to ask is okay. There's nothing that's taboo. And if you feel like I'm not answering your question, please let me know so I can answer it to its fullest.
All right. Well, there's like no real issue between Taharka Bay and myself. And as far as like a Mighty Hebrew and all them, he's a cool dude. But again, it all. Let me ask, how old are you, bro?
I'm 35 years old.
Okay, you're a little younger. Okay, I'm about to be 43. I'm a little older than you, but so I know because I have affiliations with like I said, I told you I'm best friends with Malcolm X's nephew, and you know what I'm saying, whatever, we've been in this truth and fighting for our people and doing things, whatever, community work, all types of things for like years since I was a young man. I'm in Japan now, probably for my own good and for my opponent's good, because like I said, I think a lot of people in the community, in the Israelite community, conscious community, Moorish science community, they're familiar with my background. Like, they're familiar. They know I'm what's the word? Not rude, but I don't back down. Let's just put it that way, right? Because I've been out and actually in the streets, like, you know what I'm saying, like fighting for our people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had the stab wounds all through my head, neck, back, arms. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like I was out there really doing it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, run that down one more time for the people who might not have caught it on the first broadcast, because we restarted this broadcast, family.
98. Okay.
No, go ahead.
In 1998, Malcolm X's nephew and I were in Kent State University, and we wound up like getting into a altercation with these KKK members. There was like 8 of them and like 2 of us, and I wound up getting stabbed like 14 times. But I was trained in boxing and martial arts, and Malcolm X's nephew is huge. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he didn't really have any problems either. But I was like a young man then. But so I've been out in the streets like fighting for our people and doing community work and things like that. So when I come online and I see these people talking about putting in work and doing, I'm like, bro, like you know, like these dudes aren't real. I'm not saying everybody, but you were mentioning certain people or whatever, right? But like there's certain platforms that they're like, we're not allowed to have you on the platform. Yet and still they act like they are for our people, but they don't do nothing. Like they never were out in the streets doing anything for they never did no community work. They aren't teaching, they aren't doing anything, but they have a little agenda because the oppressor is saying they know who I am. Like I've been because nothing's taboo. I'm going to tell you guys right now. I've been approached to join the Brotherhood, and my best friend. We've been approached to like join the Brotherhood, but I didn't sell out. So when I see these dudes who are funny style acting, I already know how the game goes. So they know I know how the game goes. So I'm not allowed on certain platforms. So you're not going to see Judah Natzarah on Sod Netter. You're not going to see me on Global Media Inc. You're not going to see me on this. You're not going to see me on that, because I'm real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm in Japan now for my safety and for other safety. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm real. Like, you know, because I was based in many states throughout America. Even the Israelites know this too. They know this. Like they know I'm from various states in America. So when they start talking trash, I have like connections there that, you know, whatever. Like, I'm not on no gangster stuff or whatever. I'm not talking about any of that. All I'm saying, this YouTube thing allows people who are fake to pretend to be real, but to be like, look, I want to talk to Judah Natzarah like directly. Tarka Bate seems like a cool guy, but like I said, like, you know what I'm saying? Like when they talk, it's always that little circle, that little saw netter circle. That circle is not real. Like it's not real. Like it's I'm not trying to be offensive, but it's not real. Like if these dudes are real scholars and real debaters and historians and initiates, they would be talking to people outside of that little circle. But they keep that little circle going, so it's not real. I've been approached already to sell out.
Let me do this real quick. Like so right. via the rules of the Torah and Islam and the Quran and whatnot, these brothers are not here to defend themselves. So I don't know anything about the circles that they run with, yeah, and I'm not proclaimed to know. Right, all I do know is that in the specific instance that you brought up about Tarka Bey not dealing with the Israelites, I know that to be not so. Like I don't know him to run from that, right? So that's all I wanted to address. But the reason why you and I are both here is to talk about Israel and Moab, right? Whatever questions you got, yeah. So again, like these brothers aren't here to defend themselves, so I really don't want to spend too much more time on that, yeah. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool, because they're not going to say anything anyway because they're scared to death, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, you're right. We can switch to the topic.
No worries.
Yeah. So one of my major questions is this. All right. So I'm a Nazarene, right? So we deal with like the Torah in a scientific, geometric, and mathematical application. Right, we're not religious, like it's like we have a formula that we can show an atheist, a non-believer, like, look, there is a creator, and he created all things in a mathematical and geometric design. Mm-hmm. Right? So so it's not just we're not religious. Like religion is like, that's folly. Science, mathematics, and geometry is real. You know what I'm saying? It's a real. You can apply this. So my thing is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. First question is, in the early 20s, there was I asked Tarka Bey about this. He didn't know anything about it. I'm asking you now. And a Rasta brother named Rastafari Sabbatical
Mm-hmm.
Wyndon, I forgot his name, whatever. He brings it up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Named Rabbi Herman, who would probably be like over 100 years old if he were. I mean, he of course died. This is the 1920s. They started this group in Harlem called the Moorish Zionist Temple, and they were Torah based.
Mm-hmm.
Then, excuse me, a few years later, Noble Drew Ali comes and they drop the Zionists and replace it with science, and then drop the Torah and then bring in the Circle 7 Quran. I don't want to hear what is your perspective? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
So what time? Well, are you talking about like which one comes first, or what?
Well, the Moorish Zionist temple came first. This is like 1920, like early 1920s.
Okay, so
Okay.
just to clarify the story real quick. So the Moorish Science Temple of America, it teaches that it began in 1913, right? So there's a common misconception on this concept because the legal name Moorish Science Temple of America did not come in 1913. There was other things that came before that. So the prophet started teaching his teach. He began his mission in 1913. There was other organizations with other names, the Moorish National Divine Movement, Canaanite Temple, even the Moorish Manufacturing Company, etc. Right, whole bunch of different things, right? That started in 1913, and so before Noble Drew Ali came to Chicago, he was in Newark, New Jersey, teaching. Yeah, and he left Newark, New Jersey in the early 20s. You can see him in the census up there in 1920. Again, he's claiming he was up there teaching since 1913. In terms
Okay.
of go ahead. No, go shoot. Interrupt me whenever
You,
you want to. Interrupt me whenever you
no,
want.
no, I'm not denying that. I'm just asking, is there any like, well, I hate that document. That sounds like Garfield Reed, that documentation folly. Is there any like is there anything to support that he was actually before 1920? That he was actually teaching before 1920?
Yeah,
The more science doctrine.
yeah. So there's a. I'll have to find it and send it to you on the side. But there's paperwork for the Moorish National Divine Movement, which I believe is 1917.
Okay, what is the basis? What's his foundation or platform? Okay, now I had the Circle 7 Quran. We're talking like in the 90s. So remember, I'm 43, so I've been through like all the various schools of thought.
Right.
So I'm very familiar with more science. But I didn't get into it as deep. There are brothers who, like, I it was like a passing phase for me. But there are brothers who obviously are entrenched in the doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
What was the basis or foundation of Noble Drew Ali's doctrine? Islam or Kemet or like what or something like what is it?
The everlasting God. So real quick. So you're saying you're a Nazarene. What scriptures do you hold as your scripture? Because it'll help me. Because like I told you earlier, as a Muslim, I'm bound to kind of like just confirm the scripture that comes down to you. And so I can tell the story in your scripture versus mine. Feel me?
Okay. I don't have my my Torah with me, whatever, because I'm in another room. It's like 2:30 in the morning. Natzarah means a person that guards or protects hidden things.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like guardians of hidden wisdom of the Torah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're the only group in Israel that teaches like we teach. Like there's no other Israelite entity that teaches like Torah nights. Like, you know,
right,
what I'm saying? I'm not bragging.
Real quick. So are you Tanakh or do you just do Torah, like just the 5 books, or do you do the whole Tanakh?
The whole Tanakh and Dead Sea Scrolls and Book of Enoch.
Beautiful.
Yeah. We're not.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're like working off like the Ethiopian Codex, basically, like the whole full scope of. Okay, I got you.
And also who they falsely called Jesus. That wasn't his name, but his teaching. He was teaching the Torah. So him, John the Baptist, James, that the Jerusalem community too, as well, which is also called the Nazarenes. So our thing is very broad, but we are guardians of this like hidden wisdom.
That's beautiful. So in the claim that Prophet Noble Drew made specifically is that he was the bringer of the everlasting gospel. So do you also claim Revelation as a scripture or no?
Revelations borrows a lot from the book of Daniel, and then it adds in a lot of astrology.
But do you accept it as a scripture? Yes or no? That's all I want to know. So because if you don't, I don't want to talk about it.
No.
Okay. But you accept Malachi as scripture, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Prophet Noble Ali made the claim that he was a prophet / angel that brought a specific gospel, the everlasting gospel. It's mentioned in Revelation, but I'll leave that part out in terms of being called the everlasting gospel. But however, being an angel / prophet bringing a message in the last days is something that's talked about in Malachi chapter 3, in the first verse and in the 16th verse. And so also, so you're saying what was his foundation? His foundation is Islam and Islamism, but also it's the religion of Abraham, the old time religion, right? Like so. Islam is an Arabic word, but we can find the same concept and wording in the Hebrew, right? Like so, in Genesis chapter 14, you see Melchizedek was the king and priest of Shalem or Shalim, right? This is not a place. This is a concept. So like you can so in the Quran we talk about, for instance, like following the religion of Abraham or Islam being the religion of Abraham. You're going to find it being Shalim in the Old Testament, right? Or Shalem in the Old Testament. So his foundation is the old time religion. It is the one religion of mankind. It's not a different religion. It's not something different than what any of the other prophets brought. It's the essence of what all the prophets brought. It's the clarity to what all the prophets brought. And it's also something that when you get into the scrolls, for instance, in Isaiah 29. There in other scrolls and in Daniel chapter, I believe 12, there's pointing towards other sealed scriptures coming, sealed sefer coming, sealed actual books coming, not concepts, but literal bills, books, scriptures, things that are evidences, right? So for instance, Isaiah 29 points towards at the end days Israel waking up. Right, and understanding the law in a way that they didn't understand it before, and being able to fully live out the law in its perfection the way that they were meant to, via having understanding that they did not get prior to these sealed books being released. So, in short, those sealed books being the Quran and the Circle 7 Quran, completing the wisdom of the prophets. That's a long breath. It's really more complicated than that, but I'm trying to keep it short.
No, bro, you got to keep it long, brother, so people can, this is a discussion that needed to take place a long time ago, but it would never happen due to pride of others and you know what I'm saying, like whatever the issue was, the dialogue never took place. It would turn to an argument or whatever, or insults and things like that, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not doing that. So
I'm keeping it short just so you can ask more questions, right? Like, so if you want me to expound more, ask me to, and I will.
Go ahead, brother. Yeah, go ahead. Because there's people out there. I want to upload this to my channel too. So I want it. This doesn't happen. Like like I was saying, like bro, like you are like Judah Natzarah, like bro, you're like one out of this large group. You're like one dude that's just what I'm saying, like, and then you're trying to like separate yourself from the thing and create a build bridges and create something that's more because listen, I was trying to do the same thing last year. I was like, you know what? I was like, we needed to like branch out and like and holler at our other brothers who in other schools of thought, and certain former members of Torah Knights were like, "Oh, Judah, man, you selling out, man. We don't need to talk to them Negroes, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, bro, like these are our people, and I'm eager to like hear what they got to say. Like, what I'm saying? Like, it ain't always an argument or a debate. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just a building session. I just want to hear what brothers got to say. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
our people are in this state of mind of they have a cult mentality. oh, if you're not with my doctrine, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say.
Right.
That's folly.
Okay. So in
No,
that
that's
case,
complete folly.
being this is going up on your channel too for your viewers, let's open this all up. Yeah. So you can talk about more science. You can talk about the Quran, Islam, ask me, and Muhammad, whatever you want to shoot me a question on that.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, let me get to this. This is one thing I want to I did always like kind of like bug me about MSTA.
Okay.
And Taharka Bey and I spoke about this briefly, but he kind of like skipped over it.
Okay.
Okay. Are you familiar with Freemasonry?
I'm familiar that it exists. I'm not familiar with it personally, but yeah.
Okay. Freemasonry is this large, big stumbling block problem for our people.
Okay.
It's first off, it's created in the 1700s. It's fake. And what they did was they took the temple design from Solomon's temple and the tabernacle, but they didn't. They removed the Torah out of it, put Hinduism in it, and called it Kabbalah. Now, this is the truth. When you look up certain more science things, whatever, they have Masonic, quote unquote, temple furniture in it. But this temple furniture is not in the tabernacle of Moses. Now, listen. I understand why they're gonna listen. There was a guy. I did a video. My video got my channel got terminated.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the guy's name.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy in Egypt or Sudan, and a lot of the I don't. This particular Sufi group that was stationed in Egypt and the Sudan, and they, and so you hear certain Moors be like, we're the keepers of secret Egyptian wisdom, but I know the source of where this comes from is in my notes. But my question is, first off, that guy lived a long time ago before the 1700s, but in certain Moor science temples, they have the Freemasonic symbols in furniture in their temple. And when I ask them, why do you have this in your, because I know every degree of it, all this, it's first off, it's all fake. That's one. But what I'm saying is, why is that? Why do they have that? Like, they have master astrologer and things like that. Like, what? Like, why? Like,
hold on. Rewind. They have master astrologer. Where have you seen that?
Yes, there's a picture. I'll show you a picture. I'll send you a picture of a dude who's more science. He's called a master astrologer. Astrology.
Okay.
And they have Freemasonic. They have the square and compass. They get all the Freemasonic furniture. And I'm wondering. Remember, Freemasonry was started in the 1700s. Now, Freemasonry got its origin, the idea, from the Solomon's, underneath Herod's or King Solomon's temple, Herod's temple, under the Holy of Holies, and they found these scrolls. Then they began to share this knowledge with Muslims. So when you have the Jesuits, not the Jesuits, you have the Knights Templars and the Muslims were sharing this knowledge from our ancestors, because we had got an exile from the land. So all of our knowledge had been dispersed to other people. And this is where Freemasonry had come from. So you see, like, the I know not all of them. Why are certain Moors? Oh, by the way, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say the guy's name, but there was a certain Moor who was on Taharka Bey's channel who said that he is a part of the Freemasonic Lodge. And Taharka Bey did get on him and say, brother, why are you joined in the lodge with these people when you know that they don't even recognize our people? First off, Taharka Bey was absolutely correct. We shouldn't even be in that folly to begin with. That's one. Two, they don't even recognize is our so-called black. That's not in target. The Moors are. I am 110% behind the Moors when they say black is wrong.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Woo! Beautiful.
110%. I stand with that. 110%. Do not call me black. You're insulting me. You know what I'm saying? Because black generally means ignorance.
I am not Shahur. I am not that.
Right.
I was never called Shahur. That's not my nation.
Yes. Kashak. That's what we say in the Yahweh language. Kashak, black means ignorance and misery, wickedness. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that our enemy is not, well, you know, I don't know if you guys see that, but for Israelites, our enemy he's not white. That's just, these are wordplay. You know what I'm saying? So he's not white. White means pure, innocent, clear,
Mm. Mm.
seen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So that's where that's where the Temple Israelites and Temple Moors are in direct agreement with that. Don't call us black. You're insulting me. But my question is, in your opinion, why do certain Moors have Masonic furniture in their temple?
I can only answer that by saying I think. Well, let me say it like this. So the prophet didn't blend masonry with his demonstration. Yeah, that's not what he did. Yeah. Um, there's a lot of Moors who are Masons who try to blend the things. And I'll tell you this: I have a couple of close Moorish brothers who were Masons. Let me say it like that: who were Masons? Who when they came in contact with the prophet's teachings, they were like, wow. They went to a certain chapter, right, and they were like, man, I could have saved myself all kind of money if I would have just came here first and got these lessons from my own people for free, right? In terms of how to build the temple of perfected man. I don't know much about masonry, but here's what I do know, right? What I hear about masonry, what I've studied about it, it seems like it's all a study about our story in the sense of what the Most High calls in the Torah, the marvelous work and the wonder that He says He's going to do with our people. In the sense of you're going to see us go through all kind of stuff, all different kind of captivities to the point to where we're dead. And then you're going to see us be resurrected in a format to where you know that God is God because of how we get resurrected as a people. Right? I see that in the whole Hiram Abiff motif, right? To where they're bottom line is it's a cut and paste remix of our story. You know what I'm saying?
You're 100% correct, brother. You're said is exactly what Temple Israelites have been teaching, especially Torah nights. That's what we've been teaching. The Hiram Biff story. That's not even limited to the Hiram Biff story. You can go back to all the ancient cultures of antiquity. They all had these like third degree dying, resurrecting gods.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like astrologers. They were into astrology. So they never really had the exact interpretation. Remember what Yahweh said about, I chose this people out of all the nations, and these people are going to whatever, right? So you see in Hosea chapter 6, verse 1, that Israel is this dying and resurrected people.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, in mathematically, what they call like Jesus, it wasn't his name. Yahweh Shah was teaching. Remember, he was like, take your cross and come follow me. When that whole crucifying, he was talking about what we were going through. Because if you have a cube or a box, if you get a box delivered to your house and you unfold it, the shape is gonna be in the shape of a cross, of a six. You're gonna have 4 vertical blocks and 2, so it's gonna look like a cross. But that's nothing but that's the man, his soul unfolded, the unfolded man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the cube of wisdom, right? So that's what Freemasonry is doing. It's basically a mockery. It's a mockery of us. It's a mockery of our God. It's a mockery of our temple. It's a mockery of our nation. So yeah, I agree with that. But and the Moors who join Moorish science, you know what? I'm gonna give Moors who are honest and forward in their teachings and not trying to hide it from the public. I'm gonna give them a shout out because honestly, you are doing a service for the people. Because the Masons gotta you join a lodge and you gotta pay your oppressor, and he's going to teach you false interpretation of the symbols and things or whatever. So if the Moors are giving I'm not quite sure what the interpretation of the symbols according to more sciences. Perhaps you can explain that in this build, but it might be identical to the Temple Israelites, build of But I know that Freemasonry, it is like, what I'm saying, their Hiram Abiff is none other than Osiris, which they which they basically admit, and whatever. So, but for the more scientists who got out of Freemasonry and came into more science and perhaps got a better understanding and realized that Freemasonry is folly, then kudos to those brothers. You know what I'm saying? Because they got out of the trap. But there are still, I mean, like, my question is still like, okay. Let me rephrase it, bro. In the 32nd degree in Freemasonry, you have Shriner Freemasons. They wear the red fez from Fez, Morocco, where they dip their hats in the blood of Christians. And today you see a lot of like Moors today with the red fez. I'm not quite sure. Are you familiar with the origin of the fez and where it stems from and why they wear it? I mean, are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the origin of the fez. Are you familiar with the origin of the fez? Because it's not that whole red. It's not the whole dipped in blood of the Christians thing. It has nothing to do with that in any way, shape, or form. Because so what most people don't understand is that in the Moorish realms, you had Moorish Nazarenes. Like Moorish is just an empirical name, right? But in the empire, you had the Maghrebim, which I descend from on my mother's side. You had Islamic Moors who were Maghrebim who converted to Islam, right? And then you had Nazarenes who are still Maghrebim, but they just hold a particular form of Judaism, right? That would look like what we would call Christianity, right? But it's not, right? Like, so even the Quran doesn't say Christian; it says Nasri, the Nazarenes, right? So I would go back to talking about like maybe 980 AD and the concept of when the Hajj got cut off to Saudi Arabia, to Mecca, right? And that everybody west of the Nile was commanded to go to Fez, Morocco for the Hajj, as the holy city, right? At that juncture, the people of Fez started to like it's almost like it denoted the concept of the empire, right? Like people of the western part over here, right? People of a certain school of thought started to wear this hat, and it's a national empirical headdress. It's not anything to represent dipping hats in the blood of Christians and anything like that.
All right, so you're saying that story of them dipping their hats in Fez, Morocco, in Christian blood is a false. I mean, I don't know. It could be false. I mean, you know what I'm saying. That's just a story I heard.
I've never seen anything close to that in terms of being documentably true in any way, shape, or form. But again, like, so, like, just to quickly glance over the empire. So even in Moorish Spain, right, is if you could be a Christian, you could be a Catholic Christian or whatever, and paying the Jesus tax, and you're cool, right? There's no hostility. There's no hostility. If you say you believe in the one God and you're a person of the book, right, we're bound to respect that via the Quran. Yeah, we can't make a situation to where it's just open season on a certain group of people, right? It's not like that. But via the Quran, we're bound to protect the Nasri like that. And you'll see a treaty with Muhammad to where he's making treaties with what would be the Nazarenes at the time, yeah. And it's like, no, we're good. We're going to protect you. We'll protect ourselves, etc. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like that. And you can't. And people when they say the story, like, I'm like, cool. Point me to a historical period in time where that was happening, where where the Christians in Morocco were getting just massacred. Right? And I'll hear you out, but I gotta see the reference, right? Because I will point you to references for 980 AD when the Hajj got cut off, and people were coming to the west, and that's when the hat started getting made in Fez, Morocco, and it started getting distributed then.
Okay. This is actually the first time I actually heard this. This is the first time I've heard this before. Like, the Moors have never really explained that.
So the main difference between me and a lot of Moors is that I get into the history and the scrolls mad different. I take it serious, like life and death serious, right? Like, because I descend from Moors on both sides, right? Like, I'm Maghrebim on my mother's side, right? That's like the North African Jewish tradition, right? They went from North Africa to Spain. They went from Spain to Mexico, and from Mexico to here. They never went into they never came to America through Ellis Island. You feel what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, their name in Spanish goes back to Phoenician. You know what I'm saying? So it like I take the history of it real serious, right? Like, so I study my family history throughout the Moorish realms and whatnot. So, for instance, as someone of the Maghrebim descent, I can tell you how fantastically we were treated amongst the Moors. When the Arabs came through, when the Abbasid dynasty came through, oh boy, that's when everything switched up on its side. But before then, family, oh wow, the Moroccan Empire is where you wanted to be as someone of Israelite descent. And as a matter, you can see right off the top, like in 70 AD, when we're getting exiled from Israel, right? Where are they sending us? They send us straight to Mauritania.
Okay. Well, we were spread everywhere, so I won't deny that at all. I actually have friends. One of my better friends is his father's an Italian, his mom is Israelite, but he went to Morocco and he found a wife, and whatever, and and she's kind of quiet. She's Muslim. They're Muslim, like practicing Sunnah. Muslims, whatever. So, but yeah, but it was really funny. I will say this though, man, like those Moroccans, yeah, they mix with a little bit of Berber and they mix with a little bit of Arab, but you can see the Negro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can see the Negro in there. Like, you know what I mean? And when I say Negro,
yeah, go peep the Berber,
East Indian.
Go peep the Berber, because the Berbers are a really big confederacy. It's not just one people. You know what I'm saying? Like, go check out who the Tuareg are. Go check out who the Fulani are. Go check out a whole bunch of people. We're all over the place. And go check out the origin of the Berber. Like, so if you're not familiar with Dana Marnici, please go check out her work. For your listeners, Dana Marnici, she's an anthropologist, I believe. She deals with the migrations of the biblical people through Africa. Oh my God, her work is fascinating, family. But she'll break down to you the Berbers comes from the concept of Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? So like the berry come from the concept of the word Hebrew. So or Hebrew.
Excuse me, I'm urban. Okay. What was I was asking a question before? I forgot what word.
Me too. Go ahead and build. Go ahead, whatever you want to build on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was, my mind's like all. I was making beats all today, so I'm like,
I can dig it.
What do you lean upon more, the Circle 7 Quran or the Quran?
Okay, so I lean upon everything equally, and I'm supposed to. The Quran of Mecca is where we derive our power and authority. The Circle 7 Quran is just one extra scripture that's prophesied to come in the Torah, and the Injil, and also in the Quran. And bottom line, when you read the Quran itself, right, it stipulates that the Most High gave all the prophets one book, right? It's a law's, or it's the Most High's book. I say Allah, Yahweh, whatever name you want to give it, right? The Most High, right? That all the prophets, in the primordial sense, they promised that they would support each other in the one book, and that the Most High made this promise with them. And so we also say that in the Quran of Mecca that we don't differentiate between the prophets or the scriptures, because they're all saying the same thing, confirming the same thing from the one God. So I'm supposed to uphold the Torah and hold that as a dear scripture just as much as I'm supposed to hold the Quran as a scripture. To me, it's all one. And the way you're supposed to look at it is in the Quran, we're people of the book. It's all one contiguous scripture of the Most High, as how we're taught to see it. And each latter one confirms the previous ones and does not overturn anything in the previous ones. They all confirm each other.
All right, now I can respect that, but I'm about to hit you with a question that's like totally off of
Please do.
Off the Quran and the Torah.
Please do.
What about Egypt? Because I hear a lot of Moors being like, we're the custodians of Egypt. Now listen, before you answer, let me state. Sure. In the Torah, Egypt stands for stupidity. Like, if you don't. No.
Yes, and no. So let's go into the history of Egypt real
Answer
quick,
for
right?
stupidity.
Right. Give me a second to breathe real quick, right?
Yeah.
So the first time you see the word Cohen used, right? Well, how do you pronounce the Kohanim? Because our Hebrew is different. Like so, I'm still learning. I'm learning the way different Hebrews pronounce stuff. So how do you say Cohen?
Priest.
Yeah,
Kahan.
Kahan, right? So we see the first people who are named Kahan, right, are in the city of On, which is in Misraim, yeah.
Okay.
So let me start here, right? So Egypt was a place with 42 different nomes or sepots, right? Different city states within themselves, right? Different yeah, just city states within themselves, right? And each one had their own patron deity, right? So this particular spot that we're talking about, the city of On, its patron deity, when you look into it, was Ra. Um, Ra is linguistically the same word as El, right? Like El Elyon, right? Or Eloh, or
Brother,
Elohim.
brother, 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 brother. That's that,
Oh, hold
brother.
on, slow down real quick. Slow down for me, because I hear what you're saying, right? So I'm just let me breathe on this one real quick, yeah. Just let me breathe on just a little bit. So, so the Egyptian schools that we talk about are specifically from that one particular city, right? That one particular city, when you get into it, right, it has a whole different structure in terms of how it's it's a again, a lot of people look at Kemetic concepts as monolithic, and they're not. The South believes different things than the North. Different cities believe different things, right? Um, Thebes, for instance, in Heliopolis aren't necessarily agreeing on everything. Yeah. So Heliopolis or On, right, is the city that I'm talking about, right? And again, this is a city. So there's a word in Hebrew for false priest, right? Like false priests are not called kahan, right? Um, so we're talking about a tradition that are called kahan in the Torah. And I'll just cut it short there. Go ahead and chop it up. Go ahead. I know you're chopping at the bit. Go ahead.
Well, my question. No, let me give you. I'm going to give you a secret. There's no such thing as Hebrew. Like, it's a made up name. If you ever want to cut an Israelite, and he says the word Hebrew, be like, "There's no such thing. It's a made up word. It's not real." Just I was telling you that.
So just out of clarification, then, so in Genesis 14, when it says that someone came to Abram the Hebrew,
Yeah, it's Abariyam. So you remember, so in our language we have two vowels, and then we have modifiers, which are the H, the W, and the Y. So we have two A's, and then the H, the W, and the Y will give you your vowel sounds.
so what's the proper word then that you're saying?
So it'd be a bar, which means to cross over, and it also
Oh,
means
yeah, I was just
uncommon.
talking about the Hebrew or the English translation of the word. You understand what I'm saying? I was
Yeah.
okay.
I'm just saying. If
Oh,
you,
okay, okay.
I'm just giving you a point. If you ever want to confound an Israelite, be like, bro, Hebrew is not even a real word, because when you look into the Torah too, if they'll be like the Hebrew language. If you ever want to confound an Israelite, be like, if you can find me the word Hebrew in the Torah, I'll like drop more science and become an Israelite.
No, I can dig it. Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
giving. It was never. It's whenever time the word Hebrew shows up in English, when you read into the language, the word is Yahweh Dayath, which means the language of the district of Judah, or it's called Aramaic or Aramaic. It's never called the Hebrew. That's a new word that the Yids made up. I'm just giving you like a pointer to like confound Israelites, because we have a lot of Israelites who are in complete folly. Like they don't care nothing about the Torah. They're like still Gentile minded. Like they still idolaters. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
For sure.
so it is just facts. Like right now I'm disgusted with the Israelite movement. Like disgusted to the point where I'm like like we might need a purge. Like the white man might need to come down and just start mowing Negroes down, because like these Negroes are straight up like misleading the people, making money, having award shows, dancing, partying, but the people's minds are not being fed with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It's just standing on a street corner, yelling at Africans, yelling at Arabs, yelling at the so-called white man, yelling at Chinese, Japanese, blah, 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 whatever. And listen, Yahweh didn't tell us to do none of that. He said, keep my Torah, get knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, not yell on the street corner and be a buffoon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what people think being an Israelite is. That's why Judah Nazareth is so unpopular, because people want to see the white man's the devil. He's going to slavery. Okay, yeah, I agree with that, but I ain't worried about the white man. Like, I'm worried about our people and myself. Like, how can I focus? How can we got to focus on ourselves, then rather than focusing on, you don't even have to worry about him. You take care of yourself. You ain't got to think about the so-called white man. Yahweh will take care of him himself. Our people seem to have forgotten that. They think being an Israelite is being on the corner, yelling and screaming, being belligerent, and looking like a buffoon. And talking, sounding like my mama's pastor pork chop. But that's not what Yahweh told us to do. He said, you know what I'm saying? Like, be kind to all people, mind your business, don't start wars, don't start trouble, defend yourself, but keep the Torah. And when you keep it, the nations will say, what a wise and discerning people this is, that has a God so close to them that answers them when they call. Well, that's not happening now, because all you're seeing now in the Israelite movement is the white man's going to slavery. That's right. The dirty African, the doo-doo eating African, the gook. I'm like, bruh, this is like low level. First off, Yahweh tells us to be noble. If you read in the book of Kings, when you see Hiram, King Hiram, and Queen of Sheba and all them, if you like look up their names and the meanings, the symbolism, Yahweh's telling you that Israel's supposed to be noble. The word Kayaram means noble, or like whiteness, purity, linen, right? So King Solomon and them were like all about being noble. He was the wisest man in the world, right? But he was noble. Being a nobleman, a nobleman he's a hewn stone. He's a brick. He's shaped and hewn. He's not a stone you see on the street, a rock that's just, you know what I mean? You have to have like, but Israel's not in that point right now. And it won't be until probably 500 years from now where the people have gotten out of America, gotten out of Babylon, don't have that slave mentality, not affected by Christianity and, whatever, and Freemasonry and all this folly that our people are entrenched in today. Once our people get out of captivity and are able to think freely and get out of this slave doctrine that we're in right now in the Israelite movement, then whatever. But
so that's the question right there. How do we get out of captivity? No. No apologies. I'm sorry I'm cutting you, but like, so how do this is why I'm here, right? How do we get out of captivity? Because when I talk to Israelites, it's always like once we get out of captivity, but the question is how, right? And so this is where I try to bridge the gap between the Moorish American Muslims and the Israelites, because a lot of people don't understand Moab and Israel are tied together. We have a responsibility to each other. Just like y'all think about the story, family. It's not just Abraham coming out by himself from Chaldea. It's Abraham and Lot. Yeah. Why does Lot come out? Follow the story of Lot, right? And it'll take you. We see Ruth and Moabites and a whole bunch of other stuff, Moors, right? But let's get in. I'm going to share my screen real quick if y'all don't mind. Is that cool? I'm going to get into it real quick. I'm going to read something real quick. We're going to start talking about some scripture real quick and see what's popping off real quick. Okay. Can you see that, brother man? Brother Judah, can you see that?
That's it. That's it.
All right, there we go. I'm reading off a few verses real quick. Yeah, from Isaiah 16, right? Send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land from Selah, to the wilderness, unto the mount of the daughter of Zion. Where it shall be that as a wandering bird cast out of the nest, so the daughters of Moab shall be at the fords of Renan. Take counsel, execute judgment. Make thy shadow as the night in the midst of the noonday. Hide the outcast, bewray not him that wandereth. Let mine outcast dwell with thee, Moab. Be thou a covert to them. from the face of the spoiler, for the extortioner is at an end. The spoiler ceaseth. The oppressors are consumed out of the land. And in a mercy shall the throne be established. He shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, judging and seeking judgment and hastening righteousness. And when you get into the rest of this joint, it talks about the pride of Moab. And you can go into all kind of scrolls in the Old Testament to where Moab is getting cursed for not helping out Israel like they're supposed to. Yeah. We go into captivity just like
brother, what about the Isaiah 16 verse 4, brother?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The Isaiah 16 verse 5.
Yeah.
So Moab did get Yah did get at Moab for not helping Israel
hard
during his time of trouble.
Hard. We have a particular cursing for that. Yeah. Hard.
Well, yes.
And any Moabite
trying
to pretend real quick, and any Moabite trying to pretend otherwise is not reading the scrolls. Yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah. It's now a lot of Israelites are going to be like, well, into the 10th generation. Now, and they'll be like, well, that means forever. Well, first off, the word ad awalam means forever. 10th generation doesn't mean forever.
Right.
So if this says 10th generation, it means 10th generation.
Right.
Then the Moabites can join. But Israelites, they like to, a lot of Israelites are trying to turn this into some like black power thing or something where, wherever. So I do agree. Yeah. The Moabites are brothers with the Israelites. Like that's no question. We're all Sumerians. Our ancestry is Sumeria. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but that's where Abraham came out from, and Lot, from the Ur of Chaldees, Sumeria. How do we get out of captivity? First off, the spiritual world is the mind. The word rawak means spirit, mind, and wind, right? So just like Noble Drew Ali teaches within, that's the same way we teach. It's within.
Right.
Everything that's within is without.
Right.
There's nothing that's without outside the world that's not within.
Right.
Within man.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's spirit science. That's biology. That's science. That's mathematics. That's all of that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if a people's mind is not correct, they ain't getting out of captivity. So now listen. Israel right now has this thing of Jesus is going to come help us. Jesus, they're waiting for somebody else to do the work for them, but Yah did not design it that way. Yah designed it so that Israel would seek Yahweh in its distress, find him, and work itself out of its captivity. Right now, we're in a slave doctrine. The people who are quote unquote ruling, or they're not ruling anything. The people who are a majority in Israel are still they're like waiting for help. Oh, when Jesus comes, he's gonna like help us. Okay, well, wait a minute. Okay, let's say this is a question I always pose to Israelites. Let's say your Jesus does come, okay, and takes you out of America. Then what? You still got a slave mind state. You still don't have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You can't grow plants and herbs and things and raise cattle and irrigation and science and mathematics and astronomy and things like. You don't know any of that. You don't know how to build civilization. So what good is it for you to get out if you don't know nothing? So Jesus is going to take you out and you're deaf, dumb, and blind. All you're going to do is wind up right back up in slavery again because you're deaf, dumb, and blind. So how do we get out of it? Our people got to keep the Torah, which Israelites tend to be allergic to. They can't stand the Torah. This is why Torah Knights are like the smallest, even though we're the most powerful group in Israel, we're the smallest and most despised because we are we're going against the grain. We're not saying, well, you can just be a Negatron, and Jesus is going to come out of the sky and help you. First off, that's not in the Torah. 1, that's not in the prophets. 2, and 3, that don't make no sense. Like, there's a saying, it's called kill the body, kill the head, kill the body. Well, if the head is sick, then the body is sick. So you have a lot of Israelites being like, man, we need to get out of slavery. The kingdom, we got height, length, and width. They don't have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So
Right.
if you take them out of captivity and put them in some other place, you know that little saying, you can take a Negro out of the ghetto,
Right.
or the Negro's slave mentality into another place. That's all it is. So how do we get out of captivity? We got to like get knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and that's keeping the Torah, and that's not reading the Torah like you're reading Jet magazine. It's designed in a way that if you internalize the teachings and apply it to yourself and to your mind, your spirit, you will rise. You will be the resurrected man. You will be that quote unquote Jesus. You will rise from the dust. But our people don't want to hear that. They want Israel wants everything, but they don't want to work for it. And that's not how Yahweh has set it up. You got to work. You don't work, you don't eat. That's in their so-called New Testament.
So now we're talking about the other temple. See, brother, we're talking about the praise y'all. We're talking about the same thing right now, right? I was just building with the Israelites on this last Shabbat about the concept of one of the things we have to do is make sure that we come out. All the different Israelites are gonna beef on different aspects of doctrine. The one thing that we're not allowed to beef on is the fact that we have an obligation to make sure that the temple services function for the people, right? There's 7 pillars of wisdom. There's 7 aspects to this temple that we're not on the physical level, not the metaphysical level, because we agree on the whole we are the temple, right? However, on the other sense, we see that when you follow the ways of the Most High, that you get abundance, and you're supposed to use that abundance to give to the people who don't have. And God's the Most High talks about basically the concept of, you know that I'm amongst you because you're taking care of the least of you, right? We're not, like you're saying, we're in the, like most Israelites, in the concept of we're waiting for something to get handed to us, right? And we're not building. Yeah, we're not fulfilling the structure of service, right? Like, so even as a Moorish American Muslim, we talk about Ruth the Moabitess, right? But when Ruth and Naomi come to Judah, right off the top, they got no spot to stay, they got no food. So what does Ruth do? She's able to go to the field of Boaz and glean, right? And she can take what she gleans right from there and go to the threshing house, right? And go get everything prepared and all that type of stuff, right? And if she's really hard up, she can go to the storehouse, right? And go get something, yeah? Where's all that right now? Where's all that right now, right? And so this is where I come into the whole Moorish American Muslim concept, right? Because like I just read, it's supposed to say, let thine outcast dwell with thee, O Moab, right? We're supposed to help y'all set that stuff up when you're in captivity, yeah? When you're in captivity, you're supposed to come kick it with us to the point to where you have a safe haven to where you can go make that happen. You know what I'm saying? And we're not letting that happen. We're not making that happen right now. Right now, a lot of Moors are banging on like, no, everybody's a Moabite, or everybody's a Moor, blah, 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 blah. You can't be Israelite, or we're the real Israelites of the Bible, or Deuteronomy 28 applies to us and doesn't apply to you. No, that's nonsense, right? That's nonsense. That's not the truth. We're supposed to be confirming the Torah to y'all. We're supposed to tell y'all to confirm the Torah, yeah? Via the Quran, it tells us to do that. Via the Quran, it tells us to do that. But specifically as Moorish American Muslims, right? We have a specific charge to the Israelites in captivity, specifically here in the Americas, right? To help y'all wake up as a people, right? So if we get into Isaiah chapter 29, right? I'm gonna share the screen one more time. If we get into Isaiah chapter 29, it'll break down what I'm talking about. So, and I'm gonna read from 11 on down. It says, and the vision of all is become unto us as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I cannot, for it is sealed. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I am not learned. Right? We go all the way down. We can read a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna read it. Wherefore the Lord saith, for as much as this people draw near to me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people, even a marvelous work and a wonder, like we were talking about earlier. For the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of their prudent men shall be hid. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, from Yahweh. And their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest? And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. The meek also shall increase their joy in the Lord, and the poor among them shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob: Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. But when he seeth his children, the work of his hands, in the midst of him, he shall sanctify my name, and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall fear the God of Israel. They also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmured shall learn doctrine. Right? This is what we're supposed to help usher in as Moorish American Muslims with the Israelites, right? Moab and Israel are supposed to come together and make this happen, right? We're supposed to help them confirm their information with our scripture, right? Like what the brother's talking about. He's talking about building the temple of man internally, right? Metaphorically and all that type of stuff, right? That's a lot of what we focus on in the concept of he was talking about masonry and all this other type of stuff, right? We talk about the concept of building the temple of perfected man in the workshop of the mind, right? You see tools and all this other type of stuff, right? That we talk about. But at the end of the day, these tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind, where things were made of thought and where we build up character. Yeah. I'm gonna stop on that because I've been breathing for a second. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's
Go ahead.
We have our working tools for the mind, like the plumb line.
Yeah.
The hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. We have other, so yeah, we're in agreement with that. We understand the inward man.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Israelites are still carnal and outward. They don't perceive. They just don't. That veil is over them. They don't perceive.
Mm-hmm.
So if it no. So let's go with your stance on Moors are supposed to help Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
Performing their duty as they're supposed to be performing it.
Mm-hmm.
If in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I might be wrong. In my opinion, if Moors who see it like you see it, and they know their duty, and they see Jake's Israelites going off, it's their duty to be like, listen, your Torah don't say you're supposed to be doing that. You ain't supposed to be worshiping Jesus as a God when you know that Yahweh told you that he's.
But look at the knot that I'm dealing with, brother. Like, so I'm like, we're talking about like the division in the Israelite camp. So let's talk about the division in the Moorish camps, okay? Right? Like, so the Moorish camps don't even confirm the Torah yet. Yeah, I mean, like, so like I'm the only Moor you're talking to right now that confirms the Torah. Yeah.
Pretty much, bro. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So that's the problem. Like, so we have scrolls that talk about. Hold on, let me jump. I'm gonna share my screen one more time, right? Like, so we're gonna real soon. There's gonna be a debate on where one Moorish brother is going to be challenging the validity of the Old Testament, right? And in our Circle 7, right, it literally says, can you see this? It says together. It says together Jesus and Barata read the Jewish Psalms and prophets, right? So that's the whole Tanakh right there, right? So in our literature, it confirms the Tanakh, right? Not only that, it stipulates that. Hold on. It stipulates that these are the 18 missing years of Jesus from our Holy Bible, right? Confirming the whole, like saying we're claiming the whole joint, yeah. So any more trying to say that we don't claim the Old Testament, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form because we see that the Psalms and the prophets are confirmed right there. Not only that, you have Isaiah being confirmed, right? And one man of Allah stood forth and said, Isaiah said, he shall be bruised for our transgressions, and by his stripes we shall be healed. I believe that's somewhere like in Isaiah 52 or something, like somewhere around the 50s, yeah?
53, yeah.
Yeah, there we go, 53, yeah. Like, so we're like, our scripture confirms the Torah, yeah? So any more trying to say that it's not there, like, so a lot of people, I'll say it like this, a lot of Moors, right, take a stance to where we only deal with the circle 7 Quran. That's the only scripture that we need. And they even reject the Quran of Mecca, right? That's nothing close to what the prophet taught. When the prophet first came and he was teaching in Newark, New Jersey, he was teaching from the Bible. And I chant from the Bible. And all you old Moors know what I'm talking about. He was teaching that our nationalities from the Bible. He had to leave Newark, New Jersey when he started introducing the Quran because people wanted to just stick with the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But he started with the Bible. And we confirmed it. When he came out teaching, he said that he was the Egyptian Adab. Hold on, let me find this joint real quick. He was the Egyptian Adab, and that he was teaching the secrets of the Holy Bible from Genesis to Revelation. Right? When he was teaching in 1913, whatever, in New York, that's what he was teaching. That was his whole. Oh, let me find this joint real quick. But that's what he was starting out talking about, yeah. Just looking at this, and if nothing else, you can go to Brother Azim Hopkins Bay's book. Azim Hopkins Bay. Matter of fact, let me see if I can do that right there. Sorry, I'm taking so much time. Here we go. If you go to that's it. This book right here. Share the screen again. I'm not sure. Oh. No. It doesn't look like it's sharing. There we go. So if you go to this book right here, there's something inside it where it has a breakdown of Noble Ali being the Egyptian Adab. Let me see if I can find a picture of this from this book. Egyptian Adab, right? Or Egyptian Adab student. Something. Oh, let me try this. I think it's Professor Drew. There we go. Yeah, here we go. This is him in his own words, family. This is something from Noble Ali while he's in Newark, New Jersey, family. Okay, this is from Azim Hopkins Bay's book. He says, this is Noble Ali speaking. Also give divine instructions, interpretation, and interpret the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. Also have 18 years of Christ's life that is silent to your holy Bible. Right? He's confirming the Old Testament, and he's got lessons from the Old Testament. So I don't know where we get off trying to reject it, right? Particularly when we say that the Quran of Mecca is where we derive our power and authority, and the Quran of Mecca confirms the Torah all day long. So I'm out here doing my thing, trying to explain to the Moors, no, we got to confirm the Torah, so we can start helping y'all confirm the Torah to each other. You feel what I'm saying?
But even the Israelites don't even keep the Torah, so you guys can't help us. If the Moors can't help the Israelites who don't. All these camps you see out there, they don't keep the Torah. They think that the Torah is just a book of laws.
Right.
That's what they call it, the law. But the word Torah means teachings or instruction.
Speak on
the word Kok means decree or custom or a law. So it's commandments, decrees, custom. It's commandments, which is 1. 2 is decrees / customs, and 3 is judgments and / justice. But these Christianized Israelites, they think that the Torah is a law. Bruh, a law is one thing. Like the law is don't do this. But there's 613 teachings. You know what I'm saying? It's teachings. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they think that like the let me give it a good example, right? And the Christianized Israelites, who the carnal Israelites can't get it. Moses was given the teachings of animal sacrifice, but Yahweh don't drink goat's blood or sheep blood. He don't eat meat. He don't do none of that. So what exactly were these animal sacrifices pointing to? They're pointing to the soul, to the mind. How does cutting a lamb's throat going to atone for your sin? It can't. It doesn't. It can't. It's impossible. So what is Moses trying to tell you? He's talking about that clean animal on the altar is representative or symbolic of your soul, because the word blood, dam, means also, or dam and damam means likeness, or to be like, or to pattern self after, right? So you are to pattern yourself after the qualities of the clean animal on the altar. So say for
Mm-hmm.
instance you have like a lamb or a sheep.
Mm-hmm.
What are lamb and sheep? What's their qualities? For one, their fur or their wool is useful. They signify purity. They have great memories. They're useful for milk. You know, this and the other. They're obedient. They have this thing with arrangement. Like, you know, they're, when you have lambs and sheep or whatever, they're in a flock. There's a sense of arrangement. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to keep
Mm-hmm.
them in order. So Israel has a hard time understanding the Torah. So I don't think Moors have to worry about like trying to like get Israelites in check with the Torah, because Israelites don't keep the Torah. This is why
It's
you
not
see a
just that
bunch of
though. It's
Israelites.
not just that. We got to help with the whole dwelling concept, right? Like um, there's an aspect to understand. Like actually, let me jump into that real quick. So there's a lot of Israelites who are stuck on the law and the concept of they think the law makes them righteous, right? Or they think that they're saved by following an act, or like they don't understand that it's like the temple stuff is symbolism, right? And the fact that you're supposed to be doing this stuff and you're supposed to be making these things manifest in you, right? Not now that I put this thing on the altar. What about the altar is you? That's your heart. You're supposed to be making things happen inside you, right? Um,
Yes.
but that's what I'm saying. A lot like the cats you're talking about on the street corners and whatnot, hollering whatnot. They're not demonstrating that, right? They're demonstrating. They're not wearing the law on their hearts and on their heads and on their hands and whatnot, right? They're trying to wear. They're trying to shout the law, trying to speak the law, trying to do everything but live the law. You feel me? And that's the aspect of the teaching, like you're talking about, that we're supposed to be confirming, right? Um, and when the prophet was demonstrating, I'm saying he was able to demonstrate something like that. We're not demonstrating what the prophet demonstrated. Therefore, we, like you're saying, we cannot help the Israelites at this juncture, right? That's why I'm out here, because I'm saying we're scripturally bound to do so, and we're under a cursing for not doing so, and we're holding y'all back and the world back and not doing so. Yeah, um, like so there's we have to get clear on what the law is and what it means and what it represents, right? And we have to get clear on it via scripture, right? And I'm also stipulating that the Moors brought a scripture that's supposed to clarify this whole thing. So I'm kind of out here in this whole debate circuit or whatever, trying to not try to get no fame or whatever, but I'm trying to clear up these teachings, man, because these teachings are divided. I'm not out here, I don't care about confounding an Israelite or confounding a Muslim or confounding. No, I'm out here trying to build bridges of truth and peace so we can make this thing pop off, because I'm tired of seeing both of our people in captivity, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we're not supposed to. The Most High did not mean for us to be in captivity, right? He meant for us to be alive, right? So I'm trying to make this marvelous work and the one to pop off and do my part in making it happen, because I know enough to know that neither one of our sides are living up to the law like we're supposed to be living up to it.
Bro, I agree with you 100%. Law is like pork is a law, but we have like these. Okay, what about things like, okay? Let me give you an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
I try to explain to Israelites the law on don't eat pork. Why shouldn't man eat pork, or at least those who serve Yahweh? Why should they not eat pork? What are the qualities of the pig? One, the pig does not chew the cud.
Right.
Chewing the cud, garah, means he strives. He strives within himself. They would say this in Islam. They would say like a personal jihad. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm. Right.
when
Yeah.
we hear jihad, you always think about this Muslim guy that's fighting against quote
Right.
unquote the infidel, but that's
Right.
not exactly what it
Not
means.
even close.
It
Right.
actually means he's fighting within himself to
Right.
subdue his lower self.
Right.
Okay, so this is this exact same thing. Don't eat pork, because what does a pork do? The pig has his face towards the ground looking at earthly things. He does not distinguish between clean and unclean. He does not strive inwardly. His feet, his even though his hooves are parted, which means he doesn't chew the cud.
Right.
He doesn't care. So you know what I'm saying? That's why Yah says don't eat because you know that saying. There's a saying too. Our grandparents used to say, or you are what you eat.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So what's the quality? That's why our favorite, a lot of the Torah nights, our favorite animal is the lamb, because he's like the ultimate symbol. The lamb, the dove, the lily, the
Right.
snowflake, the honeycomb. These are all like things like that. Whatever. These are birds of prey. All these things, but Israel would not listen to the Torah. So let me for the listening audience. Crow is forbidden from Israelites to eat. Why? What are the qualities of a crow? If you go to they're thieves.
Right.
They're thieves. They eat carrion or dead,
Right.
And they're thieves. They're always sitting there watching you. Caw, caw. As soon as you walk away, they're gonna come swoop down and take whatever you. I live in Japan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dum-dums are Buddhist. They put candy. Right? Candy, tea, cigarettes, whatever. As soon as people walk away, the crow comes down and swoops that up and takes it to his nest and eats it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but and then the eagle and the hawk, they're birds of prey, right? You've seen the eagle or the hawk swoop down, grab a rabbit or a deer, grab it, bring it up in the air, and drop it down and kill it. Mm-hmm. He's a bird of prey, but Yahweh desires like the dove, which is like symbolic of purity. You know what I'm saying? And he's eating like seeds and same things like that, right? So that's the meaning of the animal sacrifices and things. But they want that. One brother said it a few months ago. He said it. He was like, Israel is like a I don't mean this. This is gonna sound horrible, but I gotta say it the way the person said it. He was like, Israel is like the so-called modern day black woman who's looking for like welfare. Like, it sounds horrible. I don't hate our sisters. I'm not on that. I'm just saying. I'm saying this is the way it seems to certain people, because they don't want to put in the work. They want someone to come save them. Jesus is gonna come save me, bruh. Like the Torah teacher told you. He said the kingdom of God is within you. Stop. It's not out here. It's not over there. It's not up here. It's not down there. It's within you. So you have to like go inside and like find and like work out your salvation. You know what I'm saying? Like, and how do you do that? You got to repair that broken mind, that fractured mind. This is why I said in the Torah, don't get me wrong, the Egyptians were scientists. They were scientists. What did they do? Well, their thing was, because I was into Egypt, Kemet and all that. Their thing was they would watch like dung beetles and things, right?
Sure, yeah.
And they would watch by observation. They had the knowledge, which means they had the facts, but they didn't have the wisdom. Like, they had the vertical line, they didn't have the horizontal. So, like,
some of them did, because some of them did, bro. That's what I'm saying. When you get into some of their scrolls, like when there's some of their scrolls about Ra that talk about everything like the Most High, like so we like, for instance, we know we can go to certain scrolls in Isaiah, right, and see the same language in some of the Egyptian scrolls, right? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, same ideas, yeah. Okay, I agree with that.
But even when you look at it, they come from a very small particular school. That's all I'm saying. Like in terms of like the particular schools of Egypt, is there is one that would confirm everything about the Torah. That's all I'm saying. And in fact, you see them turning into the Nazar. You see this particular group turning into the Nazarenes or the Coptics, etc. You know what I'm saying? Or what would turn into the Coptics.
Okay, yeah, in Egypt, in Ethiopia,
right?
Now, is that due to Abraham's coming into Egypt and teaching them the sciences? Because Abraham was a priest and he came in. Now think about it. I was into Kemet. Remember, I'd be confounding Kemet dudes all the time with, why did the pharaohs bury themselves with cats, goats, and slaves?
Nah, real talk. So we teach in the Moor Science Temple of America, and this is something that a lot of Moors don't really catch, is that so we teach the Egyptians who were the Hamithites and of the direct seed of Mizraim. So we break down the lineage of the Egyptians, right, in the sense that on one side they're Mizraim, but on the other side they're Hamithites, which are the lineage of Canaan, right? So that they have a Canaan being in the sense of So when you see Noah in Genesis chapter, I believe 10, right? No, wait, hold on. Not Genesis 10. Let me say like so the cursing of Canaan, right? A lot of people don't understand that word cursing is actually it's a word for execration, which is a consecration with the cursing held up to it, meaning that if you don't hold your consecration as a priest, you get cursed, right? So the curse be Canaan, a servant shall he be, is actually the beginning of the priesthood after the flood, right? And it says afterwards the Canaanites were sent abroad. And it's like our homeland is the holy land of Canaan, right? You know what I'm saying? Um, we may differ on this whole concept, like I said about Ezekiel 16:3, about thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan, right? But I'd love to get into that as well, like and chop that up.
Well, you know that. Well, in Genesis it says that Abraham came out of Sumeria, his native homeland. So in that Ezekiel where Yah is saying that, he's saying you're acting like the Canaanites, which because they were involved in idolaters.
Yes and no, because it said twice in the same passage.
Rituals.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So now listen, Melchizedek. First off, we have to remember in the Torah that people had different. They're the same names. You know what I'm saying? Like Malach Zadok means king of righteousness. So there was not one person named Yahweh or Joshua. There was not one person named David. These names were like whatever, right? So you have Melchizedek, who was a king of Salem. He was a Canaanite. He was not an Israelite. He was a Canaanite.
100%. Yes, sir.
They knew about the Most High. They did. It's a fact. They did. Even Egypt, at a point in time, knew that they knew there was one God. Over time, they began to lose this concept of, or they begin to ascribe, certain aspects of nature and be like, well, this is a God, and blah 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 blah. Which that's just what it is. But even the Torah tells you that, like at some point, because look, it said that when Israel came into Canaan, it said their protection has left them. And Melchizedek was not an Israelite. He was a Canaanite, but he was a priest of the Most High. Same with the Midianite priest who's with Moses.
Jethro, Raguel, and Ruel. He had 3
yeah. Now, he might have been an idolater at some point, but at some point he became a believer in the Most High, because Moses was like, come join us. And Moses wouldn't have said that if he was an idolater. You know what I'm saying? Like, so at some point, all nations at some point knew of that there was the okay. Well,
peep game. Not to cut you real quick, but like so you see that Moses doesn't go back to Egypt and start confounding their priests there, the priest from another nation, right? Until he goes and kicks with the Midianite. After he hangs out with the Midianite, now he's, what I'm saying, you get the whole burning bush situation. He's in a whole different, like that Midianite is in the lineage of Abraham and in Keturah, right? And is also in the lineage of Canaan, right? So we'll have to chop this up real quick when you're done building the point. Like, but so the again, being a Canaanite is not a negative thing, but I'm saying like, so Abraham was a Canaanite. I'm saying like he's an Amorite / Canaanite because he leaves Ur of the Chaldees. It says leave the land of your nativity and go to a place where you're a stranger, right? But then in Genesis 14, it says that he became confederate with the Amorites, right? That he literally made a constitution, a covenant with them, right?
Yes,
he did. Yeah. Which and he's dwelling amongst them. He dwells in the tents of Mamre, etc., right? Which is why they they tell him, hey, so when they come get Abram the Hebrew / the Hebrew, right? They break down, hey, someone came and got Lot. You know what I mean? The Amorites. Go ahead.
Well, we mixed with them, bro. Yeah, Israel's not going to admit that. We mixed with the Canaanites. That's in the book of Judges.
Right. No, I'm with that. But in Genesis 14, it's saying that they became Canaanites by nationality, by nativity. You feel me? It's expatriated from one nation, right, and became another.
Okay.
That's like, again. So our inheritance as Israelites is in what land? The Holy Land of
Canaan.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm in agreement with that. Yeah. A lot of Israelites right now are probably pulling their hair out, but they better crack open the Torah. Because
Real talk.
first off, if this is not the case, you can go back even further than that. Go back to the Tower of Babel.
Mm.
Everybody knew about the Most High then. Did they
Mm-hmm.
have the Torah and all that? No, but they knew that there was the Most
Exactly.
High. They knew it.
Exactly. See, this is what I try to tell more like Israelites all day. Like it tells you in Jeremiah 31, verses 31 through 34, that the law that came down to you in Egypt is going to have to change, right? And all like, but I'll say it like this. So Abraham did not follow the law of Moses. He was under a whole different covenant. You understand what I'm saying? What covenant was he under? He was under the covenant of Noah, right? Which is a universal covenant between Yah and the whole world and everything on it. You know what I'm saying? The first time you get it, it's a whole different breakdown. You know what I'm saying? Like Abraham he's not following the laws of Moses. You know what I'm saying? And this is the issue, right? Is so with the laws of Moses, there's confusion there, right? Like, so again, Israelites, go read the scrolls, right? The first time Yah wrote the laws, right? Then Moses came down and broke them joints, and then a second set was written. Yeah, what did them first joints say? Because even after the law comes down, right? What does Moses do? He keeps narrating stuff and adding stuff, and adding stuff and adding stuff, right? And at the end of the day, Yah tells him, "Hey, I want you to go do this miracle like this, right? X, Y, and Z. Follow it to the letter, right? Does he do it? No, and he takes credit for it, right? To the point to where Yah's like, you know what you need to do? You need to go up on that hill and die. You don't even get to go in the promised land. You and your brother go up on that hill and die. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't want to follow that law, right? I want to follow the law that Abraham was following. Yeah. That's what we got to get back to, right? What was that whole universal joint? Yeah. And that's the whole point of, like, so we talk about in our scrolls, right? That Yahweh Shai, right? That he painted a rainbow on the walls of time for all men to see. That rainbow represents the covenant of Noah, that universal covenant it's the only time Yah in the entire scroll of the Torah says, I'm making this covenant between me and everything.
That's true. He did say that, but I do got to correct you, brother.
Go ahead.
Moses was a by far superior prophet than Abraham. Like Yahweh had given Moses Moses was like the illest prophet ever, bro. Like we can't even, you know, like certain Muslims can recite the whole Quran, like, and I've seen it, like
sure.
Young kids. You can't do that with the Torah, bro. Like, it's just too much water, bro. Like Yah had given Moses. That's when Moses came down from that mountain, which the word mountain means conception. So you know, conception is an idea or thoughts of the mind, or workings of the mind. When he came down from that mountain, that his face was his head was beaming full of light. He was enlightened.
For sure.
So he was by far more superior the prophet than Abraham. I do agree with you that there was a universal knowledge of the Most High, but it was not as intimate as or close as what Yahweh had revealed to Moses. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember, don't get me wrong. Yeah, Abraham was chosen, and you said he was a friend of Yah, but it does say that Abraham followed the teachings and the Torahs of Yahweh. But yeah, Abraham is that seed, but Moses is like by far more superior. Like, and far as like, and as like the Torah is like super ill, bro. It's like, bro, I don't even make videos anymore because for one, my channel got terminated by the Boule. Like working with, whatever, right? And I'm like, you know what? Like, people were like, you know what, Judah, man, this is probably a sign. Because if Israelites, if your channel, if you're teaching this, if Yahweh put this in your soul and spirit to teach this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, science, math, and geometry from the Torah in a way that other Israelites aren't doing it, and these people still aren't listening, then they don't deserve to know it. So they have to like they have to follow their own counsel. So yeah, I still teach because I love to teach, but that like vigor of like, like Israel, no, bro, it's not gonna happen, bro. Like this is gonna sound horrible, but the Yah's gonna send the white man to like mow most of these Negroes down. It's just sad. It's just what it is, bro. Our people just can't get right. They refuse. Like, you probably haven't been paying attention, or you haven't seen me like a few months ago, but like our group was pretty big, right? We had a guy who was a infiltrator. He was sent in to come in. He would never. He just wanted to see where I was coming from so he could try to destroy Torah Knights. And that's just, and then people, they start following this dude and they fell out of the truth, fell out of the belief. And I'm like, bruh, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is. Now this dude doesn't teach anything. He doesn't even know anything. But he was sent in to like destroy Torah Knights and burn the temple down, which is impossible. But that made me look at our people differently now, because now I'm like not so eager to like tell them anything. Like, we have Israelites who are spread through the four corners of the earth, and they don't look like me and you. Some of them look like freaking Bruce Lee, and they haven't been given the water and the bread. And
Right.
they might appreciate the Torah more than the so-called Negro who is still worshiping white Jesus.
Don't
I don't
disagree.
care if you put an afro on him, it's still white Jesus.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, not the Nazarene teacher. I'm talking about my mama's Jesus. My mama
Right.
don't know nothing about the Torah. All she still smokes cigarettes, eats pork, and worships white Jesus.
Right.
White Jesus hasn't done nothing for us. In fact, white Jesus has churches in every neighborhood across America, and we still getting shot, still selling drugs, still prostituting, still doing this, still doing that. White Jesus ain't doing nothing. So
Right. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, so real quick, not to cut you, but like, so the Moorish American, what I'm saying is so our jurisdiction spiritually and jurisdictionally in the scriptures is to cover that, right? Like the white Jesus here in America, right, and help y'all go teach like you said, the rest of them Israelites everywhere else, right, or wherever else, right, who want the truth, who ain't getting the water, right? You're supposed to give them the water, right? We're supposed to help you get out of this so you can go give people the water. But we're supposed to combat specifically the whole white Jesus concept, right? Because again, when you get into our scrolls, the first thing we say is these are lessons for all those who love Jesus, right? And then we break down the fact that Jesus is of the lineage of Israel, of Moab, of Canaan, and of the true bloodline of the inhabitants of Africa, right? And on top of that, like, so first you got Israelites that don't even accept Yahweh Shai, period, right? So you got to start from that joint, right? But to jump back on your whole concept about Moses, right? I'm gonna jump on this and then let you breathe. So I as a Muslim, I agree with you about the beauty of the Torah. As a matter of fact, the Quran specifies that there was a specific mathematical magic that the Torah was handed down in the same manner that the Quran was handed down, in that there's a specific blessing for following the Torah, and a specific blessing for following the Quran, and then a double blessing if you follow two, because they're made to go hand in hand in terms of that mathematical magic, right? And I can tell you, as someone who studies both, they confirm each other in the craziest of ways. It's like I get on my knees and say like praise y'all all day out that joint. You know what I'm saying? But real talk, on this whole Moses tip, as a Muslim, we confirm all the prophets. We don't distinguish between them. So I'm not saying he's better or worse, right? What I'm talking about is the fact that the Torah does say that the law that was given him specifically had to change, right? And I'm not saying the Torah. I'm saying he was given one thing, and there was certain innovations that had to change, right? For instance, there's a saying, there was an innovation of the concept of sour grapes, right? And the concept of the fathers eating sour grapes and the children have gnashing of teeth, for instance, right? The concept of the sons can be punished for the sins of the father in a whole different way, right? And this gets corrected in Ezekiel chapter 18, where Yah comes down and says, hey, y'all can't say this anymore. This is not a saying that I gave you. As a matter of fact, understand this. These are my ways, yeah? So I'm not saying that the Torah is anything wrong with the Torah at all. I'm saying the innovations that came from a man are what need to get cleared up, and they lead people off astray a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say any prophet's better or worse than another prophet, but I will say this. So we make the claim of two people coming, right? We make the claim of Marcus Garvey coming as a harbinger, a forerunner to Noble Drew Ali, right? And so, me personally, the way I teach it, and this is not how Noble Drew Ali taught it, but this is how I teach it. I teach that Marcus Garvey is an Israelite prophet, in that Noble Drew Ali is a Moabite prophet, right? Both in the Ibri line of Abraham and Lot coming together like it's supposed to be done in Ezekiel 16 and whatnot, right? And the thing about this, so like you right off the top, Marcus, his middle name is Mosiah, right? Which is it's an interesting name, because it's not just linked to Moses, right? It's not just linked to drawn out of the water in a sense, right? It's drawn out by Yah. It's drawn out by the Most High, and I'll leave it on that one. Go ahead and build, Doc. You're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, yeah. But well, it's not like a thing of better or whatever. Like okay, what about King David? The Psalms are like super ill too. Like Yah had given David the Psalms, but he didn't show Moses what he showed David.
Right.
Like David straight saw like our times. Like you know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like David was talking about like America, talking about the oppressor,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff in the Psalms. Moses don't mention nothing about none of that.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? But what's good about this, and I do agree that there is it maybe innovations is it can be a proper term for that, because due to circumstances and times, the Torah has to fit. Do you know what I mean? Like there was a point in
Yeah.
time where there were no kings.
Yeah.
We had judges. So then we had judges, but the Torah was here. But, you know, remember Moses was given the Torah, but we had judges.
Right.
We didn't have kings.
Right.
So then a king came later on.
Right.
There was a point in time where we had judges. We didn't really have priests, but then the priests came, the Levites, and they were given preeminence over all the rest of the tribes. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But people who are listening might take it that you mean like it's an error when that's not true. It's just saying.
Let me say, like, let me clear something over. Like, so I don't think that any innovation that was made by Moses, and I'm specifically saying that there was made by Moses, I don't think it was intentional. Like, I'm saying it like this, yeah, because when you look at the story, Yah was pouring so much onto Moses as one dude. He was like, "Fam, I can't take it. Can you please? Can we get some elders? Can we get 72 other dudes up here? Something? Do you need, like, this is too much? Like you said, like he was kicking on the mountain." Came down all glowing with white hair, and I was like, "Fam, you feel me?" Like he was getting it poured on him. I don't think there's any prophet that caught it as much as Moses did in terms of like the spirit being put on him. Like, you're gonna hear this out real quick, yeah. Like the Torah is some cold stuff, yeah. The Quran, it rivals it to me, but that's just me, right? But that doesn't matter. You don't gotta accept it, right? The Torah is some cold stuff, yeah. I'm just saying any error that came was not on purpose, and it wasn't like I'm going to defy Yah. It was one man dealing with a heavy demonstration. You know what I'm saying? That was just a heavy demo. That's all I'm saying. I don't expect one man to get all that perfect. Hence you see David coming saying some stuff. You see Yahweh Shai coming saying some stuff, etc. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like yeah, for sure. Listen, and I have the Quran too. I remember I have like 5 of them. And actually, when you saw when Bashir be doing his debates, I already know where he's going before he even goes there, because he's reading the footnotes from the Ahmadiyya, Maulana Ali, the Green Quran. I already know where he's going. Like I've been studying that for like years. I had this, you already know where he's going. I had to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I know what, I know about the Indian dude that he thinks is Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like. So, but you know what's ill though? I actually agree that this Quran that I have, the green one, the Ahmadiyya Quran, is actually, in my opinion, the best one. I know that Ahmadiyya is not. They're considered like a fringe weirdo sect of Islam, not necessarily considered Muslims or whatever. But we have several Qurans, and that Ahmadiyya one is, in my opinion, you might think differently, but I think that as far as the Quran goes, as far as footnotes and the writing or whatever, it's the best to me. As far as like a lot of Israelites too get on Islam, but they don't realize that Abraham did say, "May Ishmael live in your sight." Now he didn't. No, consider this. Consider Ishmael and consider Esau.
Mm-hmm.
Esau was never told to live in Yahweh's sight. Abraham pleaded with Yahweh that Ishmael live in his sight.
Mm-hmm.
Ishmael was circumcised as well.
Before Isaac too. He was the first one.
So don't get me wrong.
Ishmael's the reason why most so-called Jews get bar mitzvah at 12. You know what I'm saying? Okay. A lot of people don't catch that.
Well, actually, it's 13, but yeah.
Well, you know. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So when I say that, I get accused by a lot of Israelites like, "Oh, you're a Muslim." I'm like, bruh, like, are you keeping the? Well, I already know you're not keeping the Torah, because if they, the simple fact, their whole thing is this: they'll be like, well, Yah said that he'll bless Ishmael with to be
12
a
princes.
great nation, and that's it. Well, wait a minute. Esau's a great nation. He's multiple children. So obviously there was more to Ishmael than it was to just being a numerous nation.
Right. But beyond that,
Right?
what's the covenant of circumcision period? They miss out Genesis 17 period. Like, so like there's a lot of beautiful covenants given there, right? So first and foremost, like for Moabites and Israelites, let's clear this up, right? So yes, the lineage of kingship does come through Sarah and does come through Judah and Israel, etc. Right? That's not supposed to change, period, right? And every Moabite needs to accept that part, right? However, right, this concept of who's who is Genesis 17 is bringing on this. So the concept of circumcision is that all of Abraham's seed get inheritance in the land of Canaan, and that the Most High will be a God unto them, and that they will be His people. So that means the seed of Hagar, the seed of Sarah, and the seed of Keturah all have the right to be in the land of Canaan, and have an aspect of worshiping the Most High, right? Like, so the Midianites. So this is why Jethro was called the Kohan of the high priest of Midian, right? This is why you're seeing Ishmaelites having prophets like coming out of the tents of Kedar, etc. Right? This is why you're seeing everybody having an aspect of the Most High, right? Because they're all supposed to be worshiping the Most High in their tongue, in their way, in the way that Abraham taught them, in a very formless way. You know what I'm saying? And then they all have ties to the land of Canaan, which is a huge piece of land.
Oh, I agree. The only thing I would say is now, modern wise, that Ishmael is not the custodians of Islam right now, and he hasn't been so for quite some time. Because you had Ottoman Turks, now you got the so-called Jew running Saudi Arabia. So every time, you know what I mean? Like this is facts, bro. Like you can like look up Saudi Arabia royal family. They're Jewish, bro. This is
disagree.
Ishmael's not the custodian of Islam anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
But Ishmael was never said to be the custodian of Islam, right? Like, so
it's supposed to be though.
But so here's what I'm going to tell you: Moab is supposed to be, right? Like Moab is supposed to. But it's Moab and Israel, bro. Like as far as I'm concerned, we're the two candlesticks. You know what I'm saying? Like it's Lot and Abraham coming out. It's Lot and Abraham all day, bro. It's the seed of Abraham, seed of Lot all day.
Well, that'd be a point of contention between us, I will say, but because my thing, I think Ishmael is supposed to be the custodian of Islam, and that got taken from him, and
so can you point to that in scripture or no?
You know, the Muslims worship a rock. When I read the Quran and the Kaaba stone it's not Allah. Like that's not. Well, first off, it's not even. Let me ask you a question.
Shoot.
A question. The word Elah means God. When you say Allah, it means height, or to be high, like height. What's the word? Aliyawan, and the Hawadaf means the most high, the supreme, the highest.
Right.
So when Muslims say Allah, are you saying the high one, or are you saying Elah, which means God?
So Ilah is the ILAH is the Arabic translation of, and I'm just gonna say Hebrew, okay? EL, right? L, okay. Right? So Allah is L is L is just deity or God, right?
Yes.
Allah is the deity, right? So it's the emphatic elongation of L, and you have this in, again, I'll say it again, just the Hebrew, as Eloch or Eloah. In the Strong's Concordance, it's H433. For instance, you'll see in Deuteronomy 32, verse 17, it says they worship not Eloh but Elohim. Or you'll see in Proverbs 30 where it asks the name of God and the name of His Son, and it says the name is Eloh. It's the deity. It's like so where y'all would say like Yahweh is the proper name. Allah would be like the royal name. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
I'm confused. Okay, so we have two A's, right? You had the Ayan and you had the Allah. The Alaf is the first. Elaf is the first A,
Right.
and then you have the Ayan.
Right.
So when we say Elaf,
Oh, I just got
like stairs or like degrees or superiority or like Ma'Allah. Allah means like to be high or lofty, but Elah, it means God. So we would be like
right.
Ilahe Yashael, which means the God of Allah Yawan. Like they Yiddish would be like Elion, but it's Allah Yawan. So you know what I'm saying? So I always like there's a Muslim guy that comes on our channel sometimes or my old channel, and he would try to like use words like Mecca is prophesied in the Torah, and I would confound them. I would be like, so bruh, Hebrew's not a real word. I'll just say Hebrew though.
You're cutting in. You're cutting in.
And I'll be like, okay, show me.
You have a good connection on your microphone because you're cutting in and out a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. This computer like it does this like
you're good
fade
now.
in.
You're good now.
Okay, it'll do it again. Don't worry.
Okay.
He would be like Muhammad is in the Torah, and then and of course I like messing with him because he's a good guy, but he reaches very very hard. I would be like, bruh. Ayan, I'm sorry, the Ayan. So he would be like Ahmad, which means like upright or a meeting place. Ahmad, right? He'd be like, that means Muhammad, right? Because it'd be like Ma, which is with or from Ahmad. So he'd be like, right? So I would be like, okay. Then I would confound him. I would be like, so is Muhammad the desire of the nations? He'd be like, yeah. And I would be like, that word is Kamad. And he'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, bruh, Kamad and Ahmad are two different words, like with two different meanings.
Yeah. So let me just say this real quick. Like so most Muslims, the Arabic that they know is not the Arabic of the Quran. They know the Arabic of the Hadithist lexicon, which is based off of Quraysh, and not the unifying, clarifying Arabic of the Quran. So the Arabic. So I was talking about like how Moses had a heavy demonstration put on. Right. People don't really catch the demonstration that was put on Muhammad. In the sense, like, so we understand like the day of Pentecost in the concept where like people were able to speak different languages and all that type of stuff through the Spirit and whatnot, right? When Muhammad got the revelation coming down to him, the Arabic that he heard was nothing he'd ever heard before. So we know at the Tower of Babel, right? The languages were confounded because man was too unified, right? And so we talk about in our literature in the Circle 7 Quran that Muhammad is the founder of the uniting of Islam. He didn't found any new religion. He's the one saying, hey, you Christians, Muslims, and Jews and Muslims, we all practice the same things. We all practice the same thing, right? We worship the same God, right? That's what he founded, right? Nothing new about that, right? He's just telling people, hey, we're worshiping the same people, right? But the Arabic he got, right, had a little bit of all their languages in it, right? So for instance, in the Quraysh, there's no word for Elohim, but in the Quran, in the Arabic of the Quran, Elohim is said 5 times Allahumma, but they try to mistranslate as O Allah. But that term O Allah has another phraseology in Arabic, Ya Allah, right? So they try to force fit a lot of stuff in the Quraysh Arabic that's not in the Arabic of the Quran.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I did see the Ya Allah on there. Yes, I did. What is your opinion on the diacritics and romanization of Arabic?
Again, I hate the diacritic marks in Arabic and Hebrew, right? Because it makes stuff way too complicated. Like because it disunifies so many concepts on a priestly level. Because like on a priestly level, you can see where like things are layered. right? You know what I'm saying? You can have like 7 layers of some joints or whatnot, right? You can see it's all like I could say like we could say shalom, shalom, shalim, shalem, right? And they're all different words with different diacritic marks, right? But at the same, we knock them all off, right? What is it? It's SLM, yeah, right? On all of them, and it's got the same basic real meaning to it. And when you really use it in its proper context, it's saying the same thing every time, right? So I'm not a big fan of the diacritic marks and whatnot, but that's just me, right? How you feel about it?
I actually, you know what? What's ill is, and what I love about Quranic Arabic is it helps us to learn the Yahwadah and Aramaic language more, because for Arabic
Right.
did come out. Arabic and Yahwadah came out of the Aramaic language. Uh, Aram or Aramaic means the highlands, right? The heights, right? So Arabic and the Yahwadah language, and because the true Israelites have lost their language, we have to go to our brother Ishmael and study because he didn't lose his tongue. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, there has been innovations, diacritics, and romanizations, and this, that, and whatever. But there are Muslims out there, or I'm gonna say Muslims who reject innovations, and they want the pure Quranic Arabic. So we actually learn a lot by listening. Even the so-called Jew, when he was trying to like learn the language, he had to go to the Muslims to learn, well, what does this mean? Because he didn't know. He didn't speak the language.
Right.
So you know what I'm
And
saying?
ironically, it's the same way with the Quranic Arabic, right? Like, so it says in Surah 10, ayah 94, if you have any doubt on what's coming down to you, go to the people of the previous scripture for clarity, right? Because again, so there's literally words that Muhammad is hearing. So Muhammad in the Quran is accused of bringing something in a foreign language in multiple places. The Arabs that he's around is accused. You're bringing us something foreign in a foreign tongue, right? Why are you kicking it with the Christians? Why are you kicking it with the Jews? Why are you kicking it with them and saying you're saying words that they say? We don't have words for that. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I love this, right? Muhammad is getting the instruction from Gabriel, an unlettered prophet, an illiterate prophet. Again, it is mentioned in Isaiah 29 that there's going to be an illiterate prophet. I'm just saying, but so as an illiterate prophet, look at the humility of what the Most High is doing, right? Saying if you're in doubt about what you're hearing, go to other people and ask them for their interpretations and understanding, right? What other prophets getting told to do that, right? Like you got to humble yourself and go to these other people, right? To these other, you know what I'm saying? Which is why he can come back and say, no, old people of the book, we're all one people. It's all one it's all one thing. It's all one transmission in multiple different scriptures. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is pretty ill, because that's exactly what we have to do. Like, you know what I mean? We have to now we have to go to them to get correct pronunciations. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Are you going to go study Yiddish, or are you going to go study Arabic? I'd rather go to the Arabic, because there are some Muslims there who are going to disregard the newer the romanizations of Arabic, and they're going to keep it, to keep the waters pure. So, I have Arabic books, I have the Arabic alphabet, or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I see like certain the letter U, the up Arabic script, there's a wa, right? Because when you say and in Arabic, it's wa. It's the same in Yahwadah or Aramaic, or what you call Hebrew. It's the same. But in Yiddish, it's u, right? So I reject the newer innovations, whatever. So we do have to go to Ishmael, those who kept it orthodox, the language, and that's how we can read the Torah, because we have to go to them now to get. Now don't get me wrong, there are certain innovations now too. Now I did confound the Muslim one time. It says that Esau, when they say Jesus, they say Esau, which is which is really weird, because there's no I in the Arabic script. There's not. That's an innovation. And
right,
his name would be Yahweh Shah, which means Yahweh is salvation, right? Or Yahshua, which means Yah is salvation, right? But they say Esau. So you have certain Israelites being like, why is the Quran calling Yahweh Shah Esau, like Jacob and Esau, which Esau means he will be destroyed, or he is he's destroyed or he is wiped out. And then it says Esau is the kalima of Allah. The word kalima in the Hawadath or Aramaic language means
The
the
word.
disgrace. Well, in Arabic, in the Quran, they translate it as word.
Yeah,
But
the
when you go into our language, it means the disgrace or the shame.
So
The
it's
kalima.
it gets kalam Allah, right? And it gets pushed together real quick.
Kalama.
Right? No, it's two words, not one. So in the one word, I agree with you. But it's two words getting smushed together in the way they say it as one. So it's kalam as word, right?
Okay.
And then Allah, like the kalam, he's the word of God, the kalam Allah, and it gets it's kalama. It gets pushed together. It's a contracted word. It's in the Arabic contraction.
Okay. And then there's another word I got a Muslim on. It is Bashar or Bashara, which that's a Muslim name. Imam Bashir. Bashir is his name means quote unquote gospel or good news or meat.
Boy, yeah. Oh, I almost threw that in his grill when he was talking about there's no Injil. I was like, okay, let me leave that alone.
but yeah, that is bugged out. But in the Quran, the word is now. Do you hear about the one Turkish caliph that burned all these Qurans and kept one version? Are you familiar with that?
So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about so this came up in my debates with Bashir. We debated the hadith and we debated his Arabic and all that type of stuff, right? So you're talking the same thing I'm talking about. The fact that Uthman burned all the previous Qurans and made sure that they were transmitted in the Quraysh dialect. So there's a word for Quraysh in the Quran, right? And there's a word for the Arabic that the Quran came down, right? And it does not use Quraysh for that word. So there was Qurans in Aramaic, Hebrew, Persians, Farsi. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like there's Qurans in a whole bunch of different languages, Sabian, Batani, all that, right? And then he burned all of them and made them one transmission, right? In Quraysh, which once you put it in Quraysh, it retranslates parts of the Quran to mean different things. So for instance, you were talking about like you still like the Ahmadiyya Quran. I can't mess with that Quran. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying the reason I can't mess with that Quran is because, for instance, it says that it's lawful to beat your wife. Yeah. And I can't mess with that because that's not the way the actual Arabic is translated. But in the Quraysh, that's what it can mean. You feel me? And so there's two aspects in the Quran. I'll say it like this. So one of the reasons why Bashir had a hard time with me is because I stick to what the Quran actually says, and why people probably have a hard time with you is you stick to what the scrolls actually say, right? And so the Quran says that if we're in doubt, we're supposed to go to the previous scriptures to confirm whatever we're having an issue with, right? To clear it all up, right? So the word, for instance, that says that you can beat your wife in Surah 4, ayat 34, right? It doesn't say it's a verb that can mean to strike or to set forth from, right? And so two other spots in the Quran it talks about like it meaning set forth from in this aspect, right? But in this one spot it means you can strike your wife the way they choose to interpret it in the Quraysh, right? You can't interpret it any other way via the proper way, but with the Quraysh they try to make it say strike your wife, right? So when I go back to the Torah to confirm it, right, like I'm supposed to, right, it does not say anything about that. I'm supposed to let my wife be set forth in that situation. I'm not supposed to hit my wife in that situation in any way, shape, or form, right? So like there's a lot of situations to where the modern Arabic in the Quraysh completely mistranslates the miracle of the Quran. It's like imagine if you reading the Torah in English, you see where it's messed up, yeah. Imagine if people said this is the version that came down from Moses. You and I both know it didn't come down in English. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So like people saying it came down in Quraysh, like why are you lying? It says right here it came down in Arabic. Why are you trying to tell me? Why are you trying to tell me like I got to use Quraysh?
So this is ill. This is an ill. I never heard any. Dudes don't get into this.
No sir. No sir.
You come on Torah Nights radio and like talk about this or whatever. You would see the Muslims, the Moors on them. Then they would start. Right, and then we're trying to just whatever. But like this is an ill. Like we're not like arguing.
No,
we're talking like linguistics.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is ill. Like, this is, I'm learning, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the Quraysh and you know, and things like that. Because here in Japan, too, I remember being in class and, you know, there's Iranians here. There's, you know, everyone's here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the girls have their burqas on, their hijabs or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then an Iranian woman in a class would be like, you know, we studied the Quran in Farsi.
Mm-hmm.
And she would pronounce something. And then all of a sudden, like, the Palestinian would be like, "That's wrong," blah 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 blah, and they would start arguing. Well, actually, the Iranian would kind of like bow down because she's not really speaking Arabic; she's speaking
Right.
Farsi. And
Exactly.
she's like, "Oh, why are you attacking me or whatever?" But I'm looking at it like, "Oh, this is ill." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not involved in this, but I'm looking to see like some intellectual dueling, you know, whatever. But of course, the Iranians always bow down, but because they don't speak Arabic, they speak Farsi. But
I tell them all the time. I tell them all the time. You don't speak Arabic neither. You speak Quraysh.
Okay.
I don't want to hear it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then like, oh, but you don't read and write Arabic. Like, you know what? I read and write just as much Arabic as Prophet Muhammad, the illiterate prophet. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Because they always use that excuse because like they don't want to jump into the scripture. They don't want to go into the scrolls. Like, you're just supposed to bow down because I say I speak Arabic. All right, cool. I'm not bowing down. Not happening.
This is deep, man. You gotta come on Torah Nice Radio, man, and like, you know, you gotta bring another Moor on, but they're not. You know what? You're like another Judah Nazareth. They ain't gonna deal with you because
I got people I can bring on. I'm not the only one like me.
they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna deal with you, especially if you're talking about linguistics and you're bringing out points like this. They're not gonna deal with you. They're gonna like ignore you.
Well, a lot of them don't. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them try not to, but like you can't run from. It's not me, right? It's what the book says. You feel me? It's like you probably run to it all the time. It's like, this is not my opinion. It's what the scrolls say.
Always. But you're being orthodox. So
Right.
and you're being intellectual, and you're not following after man. You're following after the book.
Right.
So what's revealed. So if you're getting intellectual and you're making you're making a difference between the Quraysh and the actual pure Arabic, and you're getting, you know, whatever, certain people, right? Like, honestly, I would love to see you like debate another Moor on these type of things or whatever. I would sit back and be like, "Yo, OrthodoxMoor is about to wash these dudes because you don't hear these dudes talking about none of this."
Hey man, Lord Abbott backed out of the debate twice to me a couple of times. So like, well, I'm in a debate league with two other Moors, right? And I promise you, they're taking issue with what I gotta say, and at one point they will challenge me or something because the public will force them to. Because, for instance, you're gonna have, like I said, you're gonna have Lord Abba, and you're gonna have the Hark Debate kind of challenging the Bible, and then me confirming it all over. Like, so for instance, I do something that Moors won't do. Like, I'll say, like, no, I can prove through the scrolls that Noble Drali is prophesied to come through this scripture. I got a whole debate on with Bashir based upon that, and Bashir didn't even attempt to undo what I did in the scriptures once. He didn't even attempt to disprove the scrolls. He couldn't. I stacked it up. You feel me? But like Moors won't attempt to do that because they're afraid of the Bible or afraid they won't debate a Muslim because they don't speak Arabic or whatever. I'm like, man, no, we're supposed to stand on our square. If you got the truth, why you hiding?
Exactly.
Truth knocks the brains out of falsehood. So says the Quran. Why you hiding?
Bro, I agree with that. Listen, and that doesn't even apply just to the Muslims and Moors.
That's everybody.
The Israelites too.
Right.
These dudes always running.
Anybody can get it with this truth.
But you know what's ill though? You know what I like what's ill though is a lot of the Kemet, you know, like there are certain Moors, right, who are leaning more towards the Kemet as a right, and like with you, even Torah Nights know this. The Moors who deal with Islam, I can like, because I met a brother in Canada when we had the big earthquake here in Japan in 2011.
Right.
We went back to America, and then we went to Nova Scotia, and I went to a party, and there was like Muslims there, and there was a brother there from Saudi Arabia, and me and this brother looked just alike. He was from Saudi Arabia though, but we looked like brothers. And he had the linen garments on, whatever. And me and this brother was just chopping it up. And he knows I'm an Israelite. He's a Muslim, but we were like best friends, just chopping it up on some intellectual. You know what I'm saying? Like just chopping it up. And I missed the dude. He was like a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, even my wife was like, he's a Muslim though, and I'm like, yeah, but the dude's like true to his Islam, and like he's not. You know what I'm saying? I'm true to the Torah, so like instead of arguing about what we disagree about, we talked about saying, and that's what was beautiful about it. And like, so when I met like you're the only Moor I ever met that is dealing with like Islam, and you're dealing with like it on an intellectual basis and an Orthodox standpoint. You're dealing with the scrolls. So when I hear these other Moors talking, they're talking about some whole other stuff that, you know what I'm saying, especially like the Kemet stuff. If you want to say you're Kemet or whatever, you're sitting on Kemet, okay, fine. I was a former into that Kemet Pan-African stuff or whatever too, so I know, you know, they're not going to get over, they're not going to beat me with that. If you're coming with Islam standpoint, I'm gonna back off, because I'm gonna be like, okay, if you stand on Islam, when a Moor says Islam, I want to hear Islam. I'm Kemet. First thing I'm gonna ask the dude is, can you count the 10 in ancient Egyptian language? Because I can count the 10 in the Yahwadoth language. You know, like, I don't want to hear about graffiti on a wall carving, because they were into astrology. The Muslim has a book. Like I'll be the first one to bear witness. During there's a point in time where the world was in a state of ignorance. The Muslims, and you'll have Israelites who will be like, well, that was us. We were just under Islam. Okay, whatever. Whoever it was using the Quran, and they cleaned up Europe. They introduced mathematics, architecture, medicine, mathematics, science. This is from Islam. So, and I tell people this all the time. They'd be like, oh man, you're a Muslim. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a realist. When Europe was in the Dark Ages, when they were like, when people would get sick, they would just die from something that could have been cured easily with just washing your hands. It was Muslims that came in there and introduced just simple things like washing your hands. You know what I'm saying? Hygiene. It will alleviate a lot of the deaths and things or whatever, right? So I understand that. And a lot of Muslims came into Europe and introduced architecture and things like that based on mathematics. So the more that's into Islam, when he says Islam, I expect him to hold on to Islam. Then I'm gonna back off, because I'm gonna be like, okay, you dealing with science and mathematics and geometry of the Quran, I ain't got nothing to say about that. Because like I said, like, you say Moab, I say Ishmael, whichever. I'm the first to attest that yes, Muslims had, when Israel fell into complete spiritual mental darkness, there's a point in time where Muslims were like carrying the light. That's a fact, because, you know what I'm saying, it's just a fact. It's just what it is. Even in the Quran that you don't like, the wherever, it even states in Bashir will attest that the in the commentaries, and Israelites know this too. When the Muslims went up into Europe and near the Black Sea area, they found Esau up in there in the caves. They weren't washing themselves. Their women were walking around wearing with their privates out, fleas. You know, they had no civilization. The Israelites, they know this too, but it was the Muslim delegation that went up there and saw this. It wasn't the Israelites. So, yeah. So when I hear a Muslim or a Moor say Islam, I be looking at them funny, because as soon as they say Kemet, I'm like, bruh, like, I know about this Kemet stuff, bruh. Like,
right. So here's some. Let's talk about all three of them together real quick. Like, so ironically, you can see George G.M. James talking about, I think on page 40 of Africa's Stolen Legacy, that the Egyptians are North Africans, or that the Moors and North Africans inherited the culture of Egypt, right? What's interesting about that, though, is like, so like, I agree with what the brother's talking about certain Israelites being in Europe and not changing certain things. However, look at what happened. So the Moors are invited into Europe by Israelites who are saying, look, man, we got the Christians on our backs right now, right? These Catholic Christians, can you come get them off our backs, and we will gladly be under you when you get up here. Yeah, we will help you rout these cats and all that, right? And then once that happens, these Moors who are Hebrew, right? Who were Nazarene and Israel and et cetera in their practice before practicing Islam in the way that the Prophet Muhammad brought it. They're again same people basically, right? They go up, and then they the Jews become in power, or the Israelites become in power with and underneath them, right? Like they're not just subservient; they rise to high levels of power as well, right? So it's a dualistic culture working together, right? And this is what I'm talking about. When we come together, we make that culture happen. And so what happened there? When the Israelites said we want to help you rout these people and then dwell amongst you leading us, right? We'll dwell amongst you in our captivity, right? Just like it's saying in Isaiah, right? When we're in trouble, we're supposed to go hang out. We're supposed to go seek y'all, and that's exactly what happened. And just like what the prophecy says, whenever we do that, right, a mercy will happen, right? And the mercy is the Israelites know the highest civilization that they know since being in Israel. You know what I'm saying? And they're translating a lot of stuff, a lot of texts. They're help building a lot of stuff, help designing a lot of stuff. The beautiful Israelite architecture over there in Al-Andalus and whatnot. But you're seeing the structure once they come together, right? You're seeing the Moorish Muslims building the temple structures that the Israelites weren't able to build underneath the Christians. So they come through and they're building the storehouses, they're building the bathhouses, they're building the threshing floors, etc., etc., etc. Like I said, all 7 pillars of wisdom, right? And yeah, I'm breathing a lot, but I'll leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? It all overlaps, is all I'm saying.
No, bro, I had totally. First of all, I had totally forgotten about that. You just reminded me of that. For one, I had totally forgotten about that. That Israelites did in fact request Muslims to come in and get these Christian. That's the truth.
Right. I descend from both. I descend from the people. This is why a lot of Moors have a hard time with them. Is I descend from the people who were living in Spain, right? Who literally came through and said, "Can y'all help us?" Right. So like my culture, like I said, my mother's one of my mother's family names goes back to this time period. You know what I'm saying? So like I go back and research my family history and see what was popping off and see what we were able to do. And like my name Tavon is an English name, but it goes back to a name you can find in Hebrew and Arabic back in Al-Andalus. You know what I'm saying? Like this is some serious stuff for me. You know what I mean?
What's unfortunate is because you are in an intellectual department, you're gonna get a lot of pushback from Moors. But I really do think that you're gonna find, you know what it is too is a lot of Israelites are just anti-Arab. For one, let me make a little declaration. For one, the word Arab means dark skin. That's one. So if you go to like North Africa or whatever, Saudi Arabia, you're gonna see Arab. Like we say Arab, and that's actually a wrong pronunciation, because Arab means to steal or to plunder, but the word Arab means dark skin, pleasant, mixed multitude, wherever, right? Now, the so-called Negro he's mixed. Like Negroes don't think so, but they're mixed. That's why you have Negroes who are mixed with Native Americans. Half the Negroes, you put a freaking Muslim, you put them in Muslim garb, they look like dark Arabs in North Africa. It's facts. When I came on YouTube, people thought that I was a East Indian. I'm like, bruh, like my dad's a so-called Negro. My mom is like a high yellow Native American. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my grandmother and all that, whatever, right? But Ishmael and Isaac, they're brothers. So when we see like the pale Arab, the Israelite automatically associates that pale Arab with the so-called white man, when the word Arab actually means dark skin, right? So you know what I'm saying, like, whatever, right? So brothers who are talking about Islam, like you, like you're my brother, right? So when you're talking in Islam's brother, though, we're going in the same direction. Now I have pale Arab friends who are in Islam. They literally they'll like deny the Torah altogether. They're like Muslim, but they'll be like, the Torah's fake. And you're like, bruh, like your Quran says that they're like, the Torah's fake.
No, I don't get it, bro. Like, I don't get it.
Well, that's because they're not. That's because they're. The word, it's not Arab, it's Arab. They're not the real Arabs.
Right.
Just like you have the
right. And like historically,
they're not the
right. And historically, you can see a difference in terms of there's something called an Arabian and then an Arab. an Arab, right? Like, so the Arabians are the true culture, like the brother's talking about, the true people, right? And so even in Prophet Noah, at least a literature, he makes the distinction that he's talking about the Arabians. I'll just leave that one out there. But at another point in time, like, so you can see what the brother's talking about, Brother Judah. He's talking about like how there's the two different colors of what people consider to be the Arabs and whatnot. So in history, you can see this to where like the Moors that were in Spain, for instance, right, they were part of something called the Umayyad dynasty, right, the Umayyad Caliphate, right, to where this was the first caliphate of Islam, to where it was the Arabian Caliphate, right, and then you see the splintering of the Moors, etc., and the splitting of the empire happening with the Abbasid dynasty, and this dynasty comes from a whole different part of the world. This comes from like the Baghdad, Iraq, Iran, and north of there, right? These are people who come in who try to take over the dynasties and caliphates and whatnot. And then when they do so, they introduce different aspects of their religious beliefs as well. So, for instance, like I talk about in my debate with the Imam Bashir. We recently had one about like who was closer to the Moors in Spain, the MSTAV or the Ahmadi Muslims, right? The Ahmadiyya Muslims, and basically he was trying to make his basic argument is like, we're more Orthodox than y'all, so of course we're closer to them, right? And I was like, oh, are you? Well, the truth is when they went into Spain, there was no madhab out there. What you talking about? All they had was the Quran. They was right, you know what I'm saying? And then they had no school of jurisprudence. And as a matter of fact, they never said you had to have one. They fostered many schools of jurisprudence all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And so again, like you could be a Israelite, you could be a Nazarene, you could be all kind of stuff, a raised to power. You could be a woman and raised to certain parts of power in Al-Andalus. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole different ball game. And that kind of demonstration in terms of how we came together as Israelites and Moors is what I'm talking about, what we have to do here in the Americas and whatnot to make this thing pop off, to get y'all out of to make the whole captivity thing stop. You know what I'm saying? Is there has to be the at one point there was a group of Israelites saying, you know what, we have to go dwell amongst the Moors. And there was a group of Moors saying, you know what, we have to go do right by our Israelite brethren and go do work.
Yes. But they're not. A lot of Israelites who are probably going to watch this, or if they, I don't know how many people watch your channel or whatever, but they watch my channel and they will get all angry. I will be like, bruh, like the Sunnah Muslim is closer to the Torah keeping Israelite than the Christianized Israelite always talking about Jesus coming on a spaceship and zapping everybody with a laser beam. It's like, bruh, like, what do you where is that in the Torah? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, yeah, but I do agree with I do know what you're saying though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we know but that's what I was saying before. Ishmael looked like us. He was Isaac's brother, older brother.
Right.
So, but now, when you think of Arab, you think of freaking. I'm trying to think of who's a quote unquote Arab. Bashir Assad.
Right. Okay.
From freaking Syria. Okay, like
right.
That dude's not. That's not.
Right.
No, bro. Yeah.
Right.
Like, these are not the people.
The proper Arabians look like they're Sudanese or Ethiopian or something of that nature.
Yeah. The Yemen and all.
Yeah, the Yemenites. Oh yeah, go check them out.
Yeah.
For real.
First off, Ethiopia used to run Saudi Arabia.
Know that.
So what does that tell you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we all, we're all like, and I tell people, they'll be like, well, we're West Africa. I'm like, first off, nobody grew up out of the ground in West Africa. People migrated from North Africa to the west, to the south, and spread throughout. That's how people didn't grow out of the ground in West Africa. People migrated from North Africa to West Africa. This is why you have like Fulanis and all them. They're in the West Africa. They're in North Africa. They're spread through migration.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They didn't just grow out of the ground. They migrated. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whatever. But we just. Well, I didn't find this out. I knew this. The Chinese. Do you know where they come from?
Where do you say they come from? Because
they're Hamites. They're Africans.
Well, all right. So I was gonna say. So this is what we say in our literature, right? In chapter 45. Which I don't disagree with you, right? you said they're Hamites, right?
Yeah, the Canaanites.
So peep game. So it says the Egyptians who were the Hammatites and the direct descendants of Mitzrayim, the Arabians, the seed of Hagar, Japanese and Chinese, etc. You know what I'm saying? Like, so basically, we agree with that whole concept.
Yeah. Yeah. Come. I live in Japan. If you come here, you're gonna see. Remember, don't get me wrong. There's many
Oh,
ethnic groups in China.
how
So
are you fluent in Japanese?
fluent?
Yeah, or do you speak Japanese even a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah. I speak. Yeah, I speak
Oh,
Japanese, but
okay,
I'm
okay.
not fluent.
So peep the concept of so what we're talking about where the origin comes from, right? And so and the word that I'm saying is the word of our religion. Like, so I say Islam in Arabic, I say Shalim or Shalem or Shalom, for instance, right? In our language, the Israel language, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So when you can follow this word all the way to Japan, right? In the name Shorin,
Yeah.
or Shorinji, right? Even like so. It has the same concept in Japan as it does in China as it does in India. So in India you see this is salam, right?
Yes.
And then also in Japan or China you see this you see the Shaolin, or you see the Solam, or you see the Silam, or you see this in for instance like Indonesia, the Saolim, right? And then
Yes.
but the thing about it, you can see the connection is in Japan, it's with an R, Shorin, right? And so in Kemetic, they don't have the double L. They use an R to represent the L sound, right? So the word in Kemetic is sharma, right? Sharma, right? And so you see, like, so Japan being the direct descendant of what we talk about about Hagar and the Egyptians, etc., right? You see that they even in their linguistics, they hold something that's still from the Kemetic language that almost no other language holds. Like all the other Semitic languages, they hold the R turns to an L. Like I said, Ra
Yes.
turns to L, right? But
Yes.
Japanese, they still retain the R being that sound.
Yes.
Even all the way to the Polynesians, right? Like, so the Maori of New Zealand, right? They say Fetite Rahi, that they are the children of the sun, or the children of Ra, right? The Ra is the name of their god still over even in Polynesia.
Oh. You know what else is also interesting too? Chinese. Let's say like English, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, how do you say? Well, let me say your name. Is it Tavon?
Taiwan,
Are you pronouncing your name? Wait, hold on.
Taiwan,
Taiwan?
Taiwan.
Oh, Taiwan. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Taiwan goes to. I'm sure you don't eat McDonald's. I'll pick a better example. Taiwan goes to Disneyland,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's English and Chinese. And quote unquote Hebrew, which is not Arabic and Japanese, it would be like Taiwan, Disneyland, he goes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's switched back. So yeah, you're right. And in Japan too, they try to say it's like a homogenous population. That's absolutely false. Like absolutely, because first off, you have a Negroid type strain. You have an
Yup.
Edomite kind of like strain.
100%.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. In the same way in China too, you have these people. There's different ethnic groups in like China or whatever, but for the most part, they're called Sayane in the Torah, and today they call themselves Sino, and there's something weird about the kanji and the Arabic. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever studied that?
Oh yeah, I actually took Chinese a little bit, so I know a little bit about the Chinese characters and the kanji characters and whatnot. And so where you're saying the Sayanai, I would say that they descend from Sin, one of the sons of Canaan.
Yeah, that's
Oh, okay, we're
Isaiah
talking about.
45 verse 12.
Oh, we're
Yeah,
talking
that's
about.
Chinese.
Oh, okay, we're talking about the same joint. All right, cool.
Yeah, they're Chinese are in one West they'd be like, oh, Chinese are Ammon and Moab. I'm like, bruh, like, what are you
Yeah,
talking about, bro?
I
No,
don't,
that's
that's what I'm
retarded.
saying. I don't get that, fam. And the whole like Down syndrome thing. I'm like, what are you talking about? All right.
You know where they get this shit from? They get this shit from this Freemason dude, Rosicrucian sellout dude named Arya. He's probably a drunk who didn't have internet, had no
I know you.
access to,
I know
he had
you're
no
talking
access
about.
to. Yeah, he's making up stuff. Oh, the Chinese and Japanese are Ammon and Moab. First off, Japan's a fairly new country for one. I think Korea and China predate Japan. Like, you know what I mean? Like China wasn't, I mean, Japan wasn't even a unified country. It was like it was an island that had different kingdoms, and then
Right.
after a while,
Right.
they began to unify. Emperors began to unify, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But so they didn't speak the same language. They were coming from different places, different cultures. Even right now, if you go to Osaka people are very different from Tokyo people. Very different.
Right.
Dress different, talk different, different culture, you know, whatever. But this
Hmm.
is one little island. So, but the lie is, oh, we're like one homogenous people. Not
Oh yeah, you missed me with that. I don't want to hear all that stuff.
whites. You guys always being like all Israel's all Negroes. Uh, like
No.
like
Yeah.
what's a Negro? First off, Negro is a
Exactly.
new, right? Like, you know, it's a lie. Israel has always been a mixed multitude of people. Same with Ishmael. Ishmaelites or so-called Arab Arabians are not. They don't all look like Bashir Assad. You got people who look like me and you. You got people who look like Screech from freaking Saved by the Bell. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, bro.
we're like Hamites. Well, look at
Right.
China. They're Hamites. They don't look like freaking Dikembe Mutombo or
Right.
you know.
And I'll say the same,
You have
same thing about Moabites too. Look at the Moabites. So we talk about in our literature that you have Moabite, like the Hindus are Moabites, for instance, right? Like or they're Moabites, Canaanites, and Hittites from the land of Canaan, right? So when you look at the Moabite strain, you can see like there's people who call themselves Moors in India and in Sri Lanka, right? You can also see people in Indonesia and the Philippines call themselves Moors and Moros and whatnot, right? Like the same concept, same people, right? Like different look. I mean, like the Moros in the Philippines look mad different from the Sindhi Moors, look mad different from the Ceylon Moors, look mad different from the Indian Moors, look mad different from the Moroccans. You know what I'm saying? Look mad different from us, right? But we're all still Moabites in this, yeah.
you know what's ill though is all the color shades are all represented in the three branches of mankind. In Shem, Ham, and Japheth, you're gonna find whiter, medium to darker in all of them. You know what I mean? Like the people want that guy Carl Linnaeus in them in the 1700s. They tried to make like a like, first off, the concept of race is false. There's no such thing as race. It's all nationality.
100%.
Race would imply that everybody who is dark skinned is the same people.
Right. See, this is what we talk about in Circle 7, bro. Break it down. I love this. Break it down.
It's just not true. Race is a false concept. It's nationality. Right? The Khoisan in South Africa look like freaking Chinese people, and they're supposed to be the quote unquote oldest Africans.
And high yellow with that. High yellow with that, yeah. Explain that one, family. Explain that one, right? Because he's speaking the truth, right? Because you got three forms of melanin, right? You have pheomelanin,
and different
melanin.
shades.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I mean, good.
No, go ahead, bro. No, you're saying the same thing I'm saying. Go ahead, bro.
No, your mic cut out, and I thought you had stopped talking. So no. Go ahead, Bill.
No, my computer does it all the time. It'll like cut. I don't know what it is, man. I got it used. My old computer got water spilled in it for my kids. But all the colors and shades of mankind are all represented in all the branches in Ham, Shem, and Japheth. You're not going to find Ham is not all dark. You're going to find Hamites who look like they're like pale. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you have Berbers who are pale. I had one of my bosses was a Berber. He looked like an Arab, but he used to get mad as hell if you called him Arab. He's like, I am not an Arab, I'm an African. But he was a Berber from Libya, Morocco, around that area or whatever.
Oh,
but he would get mad if you called him an Arab. He would get angry.
Was this in Canada?
Like,
or
no, in Ohio. I'm from Cleveland.
Okay.
He would get angry. His name was Lazi. He'd be like, I am not an Arab. Not call me an Arab.
Real talk.
And I was ignorant. I'm like, well, what are you? Like, I'm an African. I'm thinking Africa dark, and he'd be like, bruh, I'm from Africa.
Right.
Oh, okay. So, you know, well, you know what though? Our people are brainwashed, man. You know, the oppressor put these classifications and false ideologies in our minds, and we just go with it because we don't know no better. But this is why it's good to have like schools of thought where you start to go into like, you know, ethnicity and language and linguistics and nationality and things like that or whatever, and you begin to like figure this little puzzle out, because you know what I mean, like, just that's why it's good we haven't built in such 5 a.m. in the morning. It's all daylight and I'm about to go to bed in a little bit, but man, it's good that we have building sessions like this, and it's good that it's a real disservice to our people that the people who run these platforms, they're controlled, and the disservice is because they're controlled, information like things that we're discussing is not disseminated to the populace, where the population or our people can like sit and like gather and build and talk and whatever. No, like platforms are controlled by the oppressor, and they're not allowed to talk about things like this. They're only allowed to spin a narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a disservice to the public. So you're not. That's why when we were talking, you were saying, "Hey, I'm like, hey, bro, that's a controlled platform. Like this type of dialogue. This they want you to say you're an African, which is fine to say that, because I know that Israel, first off, mixed with so-called Hamites or with Hamites. But when you say African, are you going to apply that same logic to when you say Asian? Because there are East Indians here, is in the continent of Asia, but they're not related. They're not Chinese or Japanese. They don't even look like them. In fact, some of them are darker than us. Like there are Indians here. They are like damn near purple. They're so dark. So, you know what I mean? Like, when you say, they'd be like African blood. Well, bro, what does that mean exactly? Like, like African.
The bloodlines that they have
are the same.
Right? No,
all the same.
No, it's not what we're saying at all. So, like, as a matter of fact, like, so it was like this came up in one of my debates with Bashir, because like Bashir was like, so you don't even claim being African? Like, no, I'm African. Like, is that your nationality? No, it's not. Is it a nationality? No, right? I'm not saying that at all, right? And in fact, as a matter of fact, in the Circle 7 Quran, we have a concept of the first true and divine name of Africa was called the Mexim, right? And that's just the way we're saying it there, right? Like, so you can, and it has to do with the ruling class of North Africa, etc., right? But you can find this in the Torah, yeah. So there is a word for store cities that's said 7 times, right, in the Torah, like the store cities that Joseph set up, right, like for in preparation of the famine that was going to come, right? Are you familiar with that word?
I'm not familiar with that one. I just know the other one is Ramesses, and that's for when I'm familiar with the words for when Israel was building storage houses for Pharaoh.
Right. So there's store cities for Pharaoh that he builds, and then the store cities that Solomon builds in the same area. Bottom line is they're both in this. Like, are you of the concept that Solomon was king over a vast array of territory that might have even stretched to America, or no?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it says that he traveled all the way to India and all that. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So hold on, let me find these joints real quick. Let me find the word I'm looking for. I'll put it up on screen share so you can see what I'm talking about, because you can probably tell me how to pronounce it a little bit better.
All right.
But yeah, so I believe it said like 7 times, right? But it's an area in North Africa, bottom line, right? And it's an area within the jurisdiction of Egypt / North Africa.
Was it Ophir?
No, hold on.
Okay.
It starts. Give me a quick second. Bad time multitasking. I'm trying to talk and type at the same time.
Well, why are you looking for it? See, this is why we wouldn't have a good debate, because we're going to agree on too much stuff.
Hey, and that's the point for me, bro.
Well, you can't have a debate if we're agreeing. We're like,
no, I'm with
it. Right.
Hey, I'm not mad at you, bro. So, hey, I don't mind being on the Torah night side debating somebody else with these other camps. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be like we're divided. You know what I mean? We can get it in together, fair.
Yeah, of course. I'm saying, remember you were like, well, let's have a debate, but I'm like, that wouldn't have been a very good debate, because
at first you were talking about we were talking about debating the concept of is Abraham a Canaanite or not, right? And that already got squashed.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Where did I look it up? It's like man, hold on. I'll find it. I'm trying to build about something if you want to, because that's gonna take me a second. I can already tell it's going to.
Yeah. So yeah, man. It saddens me, man, that a Moorish brother who studies the sciences and math is gonna be out pretty much by, as you know what I'm saying, the big group is going to attack you. Well, first off, they probably won't attack you. They'll probably be afraid of you, especially if you like Torah night backing. Especially with Torah nights know that you're into the Torah too, and and you're agreeing and you're into the sciences and math and geometry and history and all that, whatever. They're going to support you. So automatically, right then, more science, they're going to be like, oh well, these crazy rebel outlaw Israelite dudes who are no joke. We're going to leave this Orthodox Moor alone. But if we, now the Torah Knights will have your back. But if there's just you and they will gang up on you. Like, better believe it.
Oh, I like
and they will
that.
try to make you look crazy and be like, you don't know what he's talking about, because the public is always into numbers. Oh, if everybody's saying it, it must be true.
I found it. Here we go. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Damn.
Okay, it's Masakawath. That's the same word that's in a Masakana. It's the same word used for storehouses in where
Right,
Israel
okay.
was building. Yeah.
Right. So that word right there is what. So you see how it's translated for magazine.
Yeah.
That concept of a Mexican goes back to that word, the concept of that word magazine and whatnot. But it comes back to when it gets to Arabic, some of the language, some of the pronunciations, some of the pronunciations change, and that turns into. Hold on. Let's see. I think I got that on. There we go. That's the right one right there.
Oh, Maxent. Okay.
Bam.
Maxent.
And this ends up being the etymology. Bow. There we go.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Okay.
And it means warehouse. The same thing, right? The storehouse thing. Or
Yes.
from kaznat to store up, whatever. Same concept, right?
Okay.
So in reality, like, so a lot of people don't like. So Africa used to not only it only referred to North Africa at one point. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm of the particular concept when Drew Ali talks about Africa, or when he's saying that the inhabitants of Africa, he's specifically talking about North Africa in this particular sense, right? Because you can't make
that's what I think too. I agree.
You can't make the claim that everybody in Africa is a Canaanite, right? But you can like, so through the work of Dana Marnici, you can definitely see to where the inhabitants of North Africa are definitely on some Canaanites, though, or from they all say they say from where this tribe of Israelite, or where this tribe of Hebrew, where this tribe of this, they all claim some level of being from the people of the book. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I had a question. Oh, wait. Hey, can you I've been trying to figure this out because I don't read Arabic. I have the alphabet in the books or whatever, but I can't like write it. What is the correct spelling of what they say Jesus in Arabic? Because when I see Isa, are they using Aleph?
I'm glad you said that, because you know what? It's said two different ways in the Quran, or two or three different ways. Let me share my screen again. I just want to see how you're gonna dig it, because it's one time. Sometimes it's spelled with a Y, and sometimes it's not. Okay. Fine. Quick. Bam. On. From Corpus. Wow. The east side. So you'll see this Esau right here, right? Well, I hear it. If you want me to, I can show you the Arabics over here. But there's this concept of Esau, then there's Ya Esau, right? I think you'd be interested, because this is where they play. This is where they play in the Quraysh, bro. This is what I'm trying to tell you, fam. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. Like so.
Was that a Y Esau too?
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it'll say here in the Sahih International, right? Oh Jesus, indeed I will take you, blah blah blah, and raise you up to myself. Right. This is Allah, or the Most High, talking to Jesus, right? And so, when the Most High is talking, he ain't gonna mess the name up yet.
Right.
So you go word by word. It tells you, what did he say? It says Yaisa, right? And there's the whole. I don't read none of this stuff yet. I got to get to that level, right? But there is a way of like where Yah Allah and Yah Isa is a proper this, that. But you can play around it to where it's a whole bunch of different things, right? But I don't have a problem with it being the spelling of ISA. It doesn't bother me at all, right? But
I just want to know what the like if Imam Bashir said he writes in Arabic. So if I have since Arabic and the Yahwadoth or Aramaic or Hebrew, whatever, is pretty much the same alphabet. I would ask Imam Bashir. I would be like, bruh, like, how do you spell Yahweh in Arabic? Like, what letters is it?
There you go.
Yod.
Yeah. Well, these are all.
I mean, connected. I see that, but is it?
Oh, hold on.
What is it?
Hold on. Give me a second. Let me see if I can. Do this. No. There's. Let me give me 2 seconds because where was I just at? Oh, you're a word I can't look up the triliteral root on you. Okay, hold on.
I could never find it.
Man, that's gonna be the one right there. I was just on a study this morning where I found Yahweh in the Quran.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Because there's a verse in the Torah that says like who was Eloh but Yahweh, right? And there's a verse where there we go, ever living. Bam, yeah. Ohio. This would be this is one of the names of Allah, right? The ever living. It'd be the same concept of Yahweh, and it's El Hayyu.
So let me ask a question. So in your opinion, wait, is that Quran dictionary? It says the root Hayya.
Hold on, there you go. It's a little bit different than Yud Hey, but you know what it is.
Yeah.
Because the base of it is Haya. You know what I'm saying?
Arabic though. So if I ask like if a person can read Arabic, and I'll be like, what letter is that I? Is that Ayan or is that Aleph?
Right, I got you.
I can never find out.
I'm not at that status yet. I can't tell you. When I get to that status, I will let you know.
Okay. I would ask Imam Bashir, but he seems to be scared of me too. Like that.
So, I'll yeah. Hey, so anybody who speaks Arabic,
me at all?
Any family listener who speaks Arabic, yeah. What's your question?
Are you familiar with? Do you know? Like you know? Are you familiar with me? Like,
yeah, I've been watching for a little bit for a few months now, a couple months.
Oh, okay. So you're a few months. Okay. I'm sorry. I've been there for like years, bro.
Yeah. I know you got 7 years that were taken off. 7 years of Torah taken off. Like I'm familiar enough to know the recent events of what's been popping off.
Okay, because I have dudes shook to sleep. I don't even know why. I don't even be trying to debate or argue with dudes, but dudes are like afraid of me for some odd reason. I have no clue why. I be trying to like reach out and be brotherly with dudes, and dudes be like acting like I'm like a Martian. Like, what's wrong with y'all brothers, man? Like, this is crazy. So I be trying to like build with brothers like who can speak Arabic and be like, how do you spell? If this is Jesus, how are they spelling that according to the Arabic alphabet? And I never get it.
So I'll be able to break that down in a little bit because what I just showed you here, like, so what I like about this site that I'm using, Quran Corpus, is that like it lets me know when there's something janky going on in the Quraysh because it won't let me look up the triliteral roots. And so when I can't look up the triliteral root here, I got to go search for something now. You feel what I'm saying? So Lisa, right? What I can't do is not yet, but I will be able to at one point in time because I haven't even started trying to learn. And once I do, I'll pick it up quick. So these are connected. And you can break them down into individual letters.
Yes.
Right? So
yes.
So right, like there's a cursive Hebrew script. You know what I'm saying? There's the same thing, right? Like so, like once I can read it a little bit, I'll break it down for you because they're afraid to tell you the truth is what it is. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Because once they start thinking, it's like, oh snap, this is telling on somebody real quick. Because once you get into it, bro, The Quraysh is not the Quranic Arabic, and the Quranic Arabic, it says, confirms what was brought down in the Torah, etc. Right? Like there's words in the Quranic Arabic that are not in Quraysh. Like I said,
Man, this is deep, man. You got to come on Torah Nice Radio, man, and like talk
whenever you want to, bro.
Oh, bro, you can whatever. Torah Nice has always been open to everybody. Like people come on and say whatever they like. All we're gonna do is ask questions, like, or if you want to like control the panel. Because like this, I would love this. That Koresh people try to avoid. They don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. So I like the whole like Lions Den, like the Daniel and Lions Den demonstration. You know what I'm saying? I love doing that. So like I don't mind being outnumbered at any point in time. I don't mind people being belligerent. I don't mind people being as long as I get to answer the question. That's all I care about.
Well, bro, we just want to know. Like you can, because some Torah nights are like very argumentative. They'd be like, "Oh, you don't follow the Torah, you would know." Blah, 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 blah. Like, bro, chill out, bro. Like, it's not always an argument.
This word here is not Quraysh. Let me tell you.
Wait, indeed, we have some. Okay.
There's a word for Quraysh. There's a whole title of a chapter in the Quran called the Quraysh.
Yes.
It ain't that word. That's all I'm saying. It ain't Arabian in anywhere in the world. You know what I'm saying? But it says that where I gotta find it. Where is it? 16:103. I think it comes down in the clarifying Arabic. No.
Tongue is one and the tongue of the one they refer to is foreign, and this Quran is in clear Arabic language.
And that word clear has the concept of also mean clarifying. So like this is clearing up some stuff that y'all had misunderstood beforehand. Even like so understand at this point in time, right? Like so when the Quran comes down, we already understand. So Israel's not even dealing with the Hebrew proper no more, right? We're dealing with like the Aramaic script, and they're going back and forth between the Hebrew and the Aramaic and writing it in one style, but saying it in two different styles. You know what I'm saying? So like
yeah.
Like so there's confusion already, right? And so there's already stuff being translated in Greek and all kind of stuff, right? Like so,
yes.
This is what I'm saying. We teach that Muhammad is the founder of the uniting of Islam. The whole purpose of his prophethood was to just we're all worshiping the same God here, yeah. Whether you're people of whether you're Nazarenes, whether you're Israelites, whether whatever. No, we're worshiping the same God. The name a little bit different, also the same, whatever. But we got the same scriptures in which we're confirming each other. There's not a beef here. You don't have to confirm my Quran. I got to confirm your scripture. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And then the clarity is like I'm saying. Like, so we understand in the Tower of Babel we were speaking one language, yeah, one language that got confounded, right? And so this clarifying Arabic again, there's pieces coming from all the different lineages of Abraham's seed coming together to make one actual language and whatnot. And you need all of them sitting down at the table for it to make sense. So if I'm sitting there talking about Elohim, like, so any Muslim you talk to is not going to understand the word Elohim, right? Not in any way, shape, or like what is that? That's multiple gods. We don't do that. None of that whatsoever, right? But at the same point in time, they don't know that, that's actually in the Quran 5 times is Allahumma. You know what I'm saying? I hope, is this the right one? I'm going off the top of my dome right now. Yeah, here we go. It says here, "O Allah," right? Say, "O Allah, creator of the heavens and the earth," right? Now, that sounds just like Genesis 1:1, yeah? Right? The creator of the heavens and earth, right? So I'll go into this real quick, word by word. It doesn't say Allah there. It says Allahumma, right? Allahumma, the Allahumma at that, not "O Allah." It says the Allahumma, the Elohim, right? Creator of the heavens and the earth, right? Same thing as Genesis 1:1, yeah?
I just wish that the Arabic would like point out like this letter is this letter is that, this letter is this, so we can get it clear. You know what I mean? Like when we get the quote unquote Hebrew, we can read each individual. Like when you put up the Masakana, I could like read that like right there.
Right.
Allahayim.
Right.
I can just
Exactly.
read that.
Right. All day long.
Right.
Right.
Allahayim Allah.
And when you said the Allahayim is the plural of this one right here, right? The H433, which is one I keep talking about, the Eloach, right? Or the Eloch or Eloche, whatever, right? However you want to say it.
Elah.
Right.
God. Yeah.
No.
That's what I was asking. That's what I was like, is it when because some people would be like Allah, but it's really like Ilah. Maybe like La ilaha. How do you say it again?
La ilaha illallah. So there's a difference though. Like Illah would be, so we're talking about Allah is the probably elong emphatic of this, right? The deity, right? Illah is the Arabic form of this El, right? It would just be deity or God, right? So when we're saying there is no L, right? There is no
speaking
L.
of that, you know what's messed up too?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what's messed up too is the yids. If when you read like la ilaha,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. There is no God. La ilaha illa Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Let the yid say lo, but it's let, just like it is in Arabic.
Right.
No. They'd be like lo. It's let. No. La ilaha illa Allah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no, there's no God, but yeah. So the let no in Arabic is same in Hebrew let, but the yids be like lo.
Right.
So they like screw up everything.
Right. And so basically, what we're saying in Arabic is there is no El, but El Elyon, right? They're the most high El, right? And so you can see this. Wait, what? Just hit Deuteronomy. Come on, Deuteronomy 32. There we go. You can see this here, to where there's actually a spot where in the Hebrew, in Aramaic, it says there is no God in the same way, like La Elah. It's beautiful. I was like, what? I gotta find it. I forgot where it's at, but I'll show you this real quick. Hold on. Strong. Bam. See it? So it literally says, but Yesrun waxed fat and kicked, thou art waxing fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook Eloah, or Elohe, or Allah, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. The abominations provoked him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to Eloah or Elohe, right, or Allah, whatever, but they sacrificed to Elohim, right, whom they knew not, and gods, etc. Right? The gods their forefathers knew not, right? But it basically it specifies the difference between Allah and Elohim, right? And so Allah is the maker, okay? Allah is the maker, right? Or the power behind everything, right? And then Elohim or Elohim, right? Like we are. It says that we are all Elohim, right? Like we have the ability to create, right? We're creators. We're different than makers. God is and it says this in a whole nother spot, like where I can click on this. I can go to Job. Job almost exclusively uses this term for God, almost exclusively. But you'll see that God is. It'll say somewhere about Job him being the maker. The Allah being the maker, right?
Yes.
Shall mortal man be more just than God? Shall a man be more pure than his maker? Right? That right there is saying Allah right there, right? So that we're talking about that being the source of everything, but us as Elohim, we're creators, right? We have the ability to create a whole bunch of stuff, heaven, hell, all kinds of stuff. We're the creators of heaven and hell in our minds. Yeah. But yeah, I'll leave that for a whole nother lesson, because that's getting into your realm right there, where you're talking about the breakdown of the temple and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Plus, yeah, but I do see where people when people see Elohim and a thing, they'd be like, "That's multiple gods," and they don't realize that.
No.
If you read it, Yahweh says, I created all things through my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding." And you know what I mean? Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is a it's a push. Like a knowledge, strength. Wisdom is like a reflection, like a slow meditative. And then understanding is a building. It's a manifesting into the right. Like I tell people this all the time, and this is like a hard concept for people to get, especially the carnal-minded Israelites. I'll be like, when it says the Most High created man in His image, like do you have any kids?
No.
Okay, you have a wife, right?
No.
Okay. Well, it's say for instance you have a wife, right? And you desire to be with your wife, and that initial thought, that's knowledge, because knowledge is strength, right? And you know your woman, right? You knew her. That's another way of saying you laid down with her,
Mhm.
right? So the initial thought of I want to lay with my wife manifested children in a physical plane. When it just if initially it was a thought in the mind, a desire to cohabit, to be with your wife, and what happened? You manifested that thought in the physical plane through children. So you are doing an act of God, because that's what Yahweh did. He thought about it, his wisdom, and then he manifested his thought into the physical plane. So man does that when he, man thinks about. You know what I mean? It's all science and mathematics, man. That's what it all comes down to. But unfortunately, Israelites are still in this low-level carnal Christian mind state, waiting for somebody to come. And that's why they give room to people who be like, "Oh, you're sky daddy, you're sky daddy." First off, Yahweh don't dwell in the sky. Yahweh dwells in the soul. I'm saying, like, he meets man in the mind, not the brain, the mind. So not in the sky. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
but Israelites who don't understand science and math and don't understand the Torah, they give people room to say, "Oh, you're sky." They understood self and how a man is made. They would know that when Yahweh meets man, he meets man inside man. He meets man in the mind. Like, it doesn't come to man in the mind. In the mind. So yeah, there is a lot. So I do agree. There are a lot of similarities. Like the brother said, he was like, the Israelites are the closest to the Moors than all other. You know what I mean? Like other.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I agree with that.
Yeah, again, we're saying the same thing in the creation of fallen man, our first chapter. So time never was when man was not. If life of man at any time began, a time would come when it would end. The thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. No finite mind can comprehend things infinite. All finite things are subject unto change. All finite things will cease to be because there was a time when they were not. The bodies and the souls of men are finite things, and they will change. Yea, from the finite point of view, the time will come when they will be no more. But man himself is not the body nor the soul. He is spirit and part of Allah. Greater fate gave to man a spirit man, a soul that he might function on the plane of soul. Gave him a body of the flesh that he might function on the plane of things made manifest. Why did creative fate give to spirit man a soul that he might function on the plane of soul? Why did creative fate give to soul a body of the flesh that he might function on the planes of things that are made manifest? Hear now, ye worlds, dominions, powers, and thrones. Hear now, ye cherubim and ye seraphim, ye angels and ye men. Hear now, O protoplast, O earth, and plant and beast. Hear now, ye creeping things of earth, ye fish that swim, ye birds that fly. Hear now, ye winds that blow, ye thunders and ye lightnings of the sky. Hear now, ye spirits of the fire, of water, earth, and air. Hear now, O everything that is, or was, or evermore will be. For wisdom speaks from out of the highest plane of spirit life. Man is a thought of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite. They are not measured up by time, for things that are concerned with time begin and end. There's more to it, but I'll leave it right there.
But see, now you see the last part there where it says man is a thought of Allah? This is the same thing I was saying. I'll be teaching that in the temple. I'm like, well, I just said that too. Like when you want to cohabit with your wife, you know what I'm saying? It's a thought, and it manifests on the physical plane with children. Or if you don't, it what they call orgasm, which is yeah, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. So yeah. This is science. This is science and math.
Right there. But like every other thought of Allah was but a seed that held within itself the potencies of Allah, just as the seed of any plant of earth holds deep within itself the attributes of every part of that a special plant. So spirit man as seed of Allah, right? And the same thing you're talking about, right? Held deep within himself the attributes of every part of God. Now seeds, a perfect seed, as perfect as the source from which they come, but they are not unfolded into life made manifest. The child is as perfect as the mother is. So man, the seed, must be deep planted in a soil that he might grow, unfold as does the bud unfold to show the flower. The human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah was full ordained to be the Lord of plane of soul and of the plane of things made manifest. So Allah, the husbandman of everything that is, threw forth his human seed into the soil of soul. It grew apace, and man became a living soul, and he became the Lord of all the kingdom of the soul. Hark now, let every creature hear The plane of the soul is but the ether of the spirit plane, vibrating not so fast. And in the slower rhythm of this plane, the essences of life are manifest. The perfumes and the odors, the true sensations, and the all of love are manifest. That whole bit right there, the all of love are manifest. That's the concept of like, so we're talking about like the masculine of God and the feminine of God coming together and making this human seed come together. We talk about like that Allah is triune, wisdom, will, and love. Wisdom being a or being like a feminine form, right? Will being the masculine form, and love, the all of love being made manifest, is the combination of the two coming together into one, right? I.e., like so, like that, like so. The breath of God, right? This all love being made manifest is like the exhale or the word of creation, or the breath of God. Like so, when this whole concept of creation being like, so the masculine and feminine come together and make this union, this exhale, this life happen, and from then on, this ether, like it's talking about, this breath of God, this word of creation, this utterance of God, right? It vibrates in such a way to where it lessens in vibrancy and becomes things that are more solid, right? I mean, that's a whole nother demo, but yeah. Anyway, fam.
But yeah, but look, and he's saying the same thing. What we teach too. The seed, semen is like the seed for one, and seed is also a thought, and seed is also strength. It's also strength. And when it was saying put into the soil, which first off, the soil can also be the mind, because the mind is like reflective, but that's also in a physical form. That's the woman. You put your seed in the soil, that woman, and you give your strength to her, and and then you go through you were talking about the moon cycle, the 27 1/3 revolutionary cycle, whatever, and then the woman's 27, 28 day menstrual cycle. All these things are there's nothing without that's not within man. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, yeah. But hey, man, our people are still in a low. See that kashak right there? See that kashak?
Yeah.
Black. Look, death, ignorance, sorrow, wickedness, dark, obscurity, misery. But they'd be like, I'm black. Nah, bruh. Kashak, bruh. It's wicked. Nah, bruh.
Hold on. Let me get this one real quick, right? Like, so what do you feel about this word right here, right? Hold on. So Noble Drew Ali, right? So we have this teaching. Let me get this up real quick. We have this teaching in the temple and our questionnaire, right? That black accordance to science means death, right? But we also teach that what is the meaning of white? Where's the questionnaire? Right?
Purity.
Right. White means purity. Purity means God, and God means ruler of the land. So I just want to show that to the family real quick so they can see what I'm saying. Where is it at? Here we go, 93. Will you define the word white? White means purity, purity means God, and God means ruler of the land. So if I go into Hebrew, right, and I want to say the proper, so there's this term in Hebrew for the nobles of Jerusalem and the nobles of Judah, etc., right? And
Kairam.
Huh?
I think it's Kairam or Kairam or Kairam.
You know what? I'm gonna just do it like this and cheat because I know I can do that. And here it is, right here.
Yeah, see, Kairam. Kawar.
Here's a specific one. Which one is?
Right there, the 2361. Kairam. Whiteness.
That's the you got it. There you go.
Yeah.
So it means whiteness, noble. It also, hold on. Where's the one? It actually does mean purity, though. I'm looking. Hold on, let me click on one.
At that 2363. If you go up there, white linen and white. Linen is always a sign of purity.
There's that actually says purity on it, though. I'm gonna look this one up. I'm gonna look up 2361 and see if it has it in another breakdown. But bottom line is like that whole concept. But bottom line is you see like the like, so that's like there's one that says it means freeborn and something else. Hold on real quick. This is the right one I'm talking about. Let's see where this comes up. Nah, that's not the one I'm looking for. It's the same base word though. Hold on.
You know that word has negative. You know our words have negative and positive.
Yeah. So if I want, like, it's like so in this one that I'm on right here, like we're talking about chavad, right? Like I can go to, like, this one is like I was just reading in and a lot of people get this wrong in our literature too, right? In the Moorish Science Temple of America, we talk about like the skin tones of olive and pale, right? So you were talking about like how like how in skin tone, like in races and whatnot, every race represents all the multitudes of skin tones. And if you look at olives,
yes,
like there's a figurative meaning to this and spiritual meaning to it, but there's also the concept of how if you look at olives, they come in multitudes of different colors. Like if you see like an olive market, or like you go anywhere like in the Middle East or North Africa, where there's a decent olive spread in the marketplace, you'll see olives from albino to black olives. You know what I'm saying?
okay, yeah. And olive, actually, the word zayaf actually means clear or enlightening. You know, to be clear, enlightening.
Precisely.
Enlightened. Yeah. So
exactly, that's how I break it down to, is that whole word, right? Like because like when you're getting into the whole like the anointing or the oil for the lamps in the temple, right? Like it has to be done from pure olive oil, right? Yep. And like so we talk about like in the Quran that the light of God is of the simile of that whole thing, the breakdown of the olive oil in the lamp, right? And so that the pureness of that olive oil or whatnot has to do with the enlightenment of light, and the enlightenment of the light of God and all that type of stuff, right? But on the other hand, we talk about the concept of a certain people having pale skin, right? And it's a concept of the face being pale with shame, right? Blanching with shame in a figurative sense, right? So I was just reading that in Isaiah 29, where it was talking about how Jacob's face will no longer wax pale with shame, right? And there's prophecies saying that when Israel wakes up, that we will be made white, right? That whole concept, we will be made white. Like, so what I was trying to break, right, exactly. So the whole concept behind that, right, is like, so we're talking about that white means purity means God, and God means ruler of the land. So again, whiteness makes you a noble. I gotta find the one, because there's one that says freeborn on that joint. Like, it's the coldest joint. I don't know why it's not on the ones I'm pulling up. I swear, man, hold on. I'm gonna cheat on this one because I know it's right there. Where was it at? That's the one right there, 2715. That's the joint.
2715. Oh, I see it. Noble in rank.
White or pure, noble in rank, and all that type of stuff, right? And when it's used, where is it now? You can see that it's used for the nobles, right? So again, like, so there's like noble Drali has the same concept in Hebrew, where or the same concept where like whiteness has the concept of being ruler of the land, right? Like, so you're noble with that, right? So the concept of being made white, like when the Israelites come to the knowledge of their forefathers, it's also been the concept of being made nobles again, right? Like, so that, like, so being black is not a nation, right? being black
is an insult,
right? In any situation you're in where you're calling yourself black, right? Like you're going to be on the bottom of the country you find yourself. You're not going to be amongst the nobles. You know what I'm saying? Like,
of course
not until you recognize your nationality and you claim the name and the religion of your forefathers are you going to get the respect of people and get it treated like a noble. For instance, family, I was with the Israelites on Shabbat, this last Shabbat, right? We was kicking at a park, having a Shabbat class, and out of nowhere, some Indian Muslims just ran up on us like, would you like we all have our head covered, okay? We all of us, the men, the women, all of us have our hair covered, right? And so they I don't know, they run up to us specifically out of everybody at the park. You have Polynesians, you have Mexicans, you have all kind of different people there, right? They run up to our table. Would you guys like Would you guys like some goat and some rice? Would you like some chicken and some pasta? All clean, halal, like kosher stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? No, right off the top. And they knew to come to us, right? Out of everybody. We all of us had our head covered in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? They knew what it was, right? We looked like a nation. We looked like a nation of people, right?
Civilized, yeah, nobles. I'm very, very big on that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I bruh, I always tell when I go on Son Netter's platform on his comment board, I'd be like, your light bill better be $0 every month, bruh. Because if it's black power, then you better be sitting in the dark every night, bruh. You shouldn't have a light bill if you have power in blackness. Right? First off, we're not black. Our skin is brown. That's one. Two, you can't see in the dark. If you go to Genesis chapter 1, when it starts talking about the light and the darkness, it ain't talking about the sunshine. It's talking about the mind. Because the word kashak means ignorant, and the word light means to see or to perceive. And he didn't create the sun and the moon until the 4th day. So he ain't talking about
that's the one.
You know. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Genesis 1 verse 2. If you go there, it says the earth was out form and void and darkness. Kashak, right? But when you go into the light, which is awar, when you know our words you can change our words around. That word re'ah means to see or to perceive. So dark means to be obscure or ignorant, and the light means to see or to perceive. Look, awar. Light. You can see in the light. You can't see in the dark.
Right.
If you do it backwards, it will be a roe or re'ah. And it's to see or to perceive. So Colin is salt. My skin is brown.
Speak on it, man. So look at like Job says in real quick. Since we're here, I'm gonna say this real quick because we were talking about the seed of God earlier, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna jump back on this whole black and white thing real quick. So there's this concept of the waters that the Elohim or the gods moved on the face of, right? And so we're talking about this concept of seed and human seed and the seed of the man and all that kind of stuff, right? There's this word. I haven't looked this up in a long time, but yeah, exactly. It means a lot of things, but guess what it also means? It means water, juice, all kinds of stuff. But what does it also mean, family? In a figurative concept.
In heaven.
Semen. No, it means like the seed.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like the concept of semen is the creative seed. We know that. Like we know that the woman holds an egg, right? But we know that egg doesn't get life until it gets hit with the creative seed of the semen, right? You know what I'm saying? The spark of life in the semen, right?
Right. Yeah.
So like we're talking about like a man being a thought of God, right? Like look at this concept that's being used in terms of being a seed of God in that sense, right? Is all I'm saying. But I'm gonna jump to this whole like I'm black but comely thing, or I'm not black. Yeah.
Wait, before you go to that, look at the word mayam too. You see, it says mayam, right? You take the last m off, and you have may. May means what, who, why, what, where. You know what I'm saying? May, and then yam means water or a sea. So when you look up in the sky and you see the blue sky, it's water vapor, and they call it the heavens. That's in Genesis chapter 1, right? So mayam, and then the lower waters. So apply this to the soul, to the mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, or the Torah. Like the Torah is called Thawara, Mawara. Mawara means to pour out. Thawara means to teach or instruction. So the word Thawara, Yawara, and Mawara are all connected with water and teaching or instruction.
Right. And then
not a law.
And then that concept of the vapor you were talking about, that also has the meaning. It can mean ether as well, right? And so like that's the ether we're talking about in that one chapter I was just reading our literature.
Right. Yes. All of that, the oxygen, the gases.
Right. The Shema. The Shemaim in the Hebrew is the ether of our literature family. I'm just clearing that one up for the mortals.
Yeah.
But then all this I am black part, right? Let me look this up real quick. Yeah. Because I am black, when our people say this in the scrolls, this is not.
Yeah, I think it's a Quadar.
That's not the one I'm looking for. I think I'm looking for Shahor. I know the one I'm looking for. Shakar is in Job.
Okay.
Or It's either black or blackness. Hold on, top of my own joint.
I am blackened to the ground.
I think that's the one.
Yeah.
But it's a concept of mourning. You know what I'm saying? It's not a positive.
Shakar.
There we go. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat. You feel me? This is not a positive concept, people. Not in our language. And Moor's Hebrew is our language too, in a sense, right? Like, so Moabite and the Canaanite and the Proto-Canaanite or the Paleo-Hebrew, they look identical. Out of all the Semitic languages, you can find little nuances that are different, but not between the Moabite and the Paleo-Hebrew. It's the same. You can't tell.
Also, Shakar is also used. Also, Shakar is also using a positive thing in Isaiah chapter 8. It says, if they don't speak according to this Torah and testimony, there is no Shakar in them. There is no light of dawn.
Right. But I'm talking about in the concept when it's talking about my skin upon me, right? When it's talking about that aspect of it, right? It's a concept of mourning. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about, right? Like, so.
Okay.
And I'm saying that to say this because in the prophets literature or Noble Drew Ali's literature, he talks about skins in this sense, right? And people don't understand what skins can mean in Hebrew in a lot of ways, because it can have a bunch of different concepts and whatnot, right?
Right. It also means to be able to see, blindness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. What? So this version of the word, right, is only used once. Wow. That's interesting. I got to look into that one. But it's identical with this one. That's mad interesting.
See that? Seek diligently, early in the morning. Do something bedtimes. Inquire, rise early. So that's like the positive.
Right. So here, did you see what I was saying? Though, was like, so like that word's used multiple times. Like it's saying here that it's used 13 times, right, in 12 verses. But the one I was just looking up for it being that negative concept is only used once.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
And then remember, the word skin also means right?
Yeah.
It also means to be blind or to see. So, but it's like 5:30 a.m. and the sun's up. I need to get some sleep.
Yeah, I know that's right. Have at it, Haas. It was wonderful building with you, man. Let me know whatever time frames that you and the Torah Knights get down, and I would love to be a guest on your show and do whatever and return the favor, family. Whenever y'all want to do it, I'm down.
I was gonna say you should contact Imam Bashir and get some dialogue going, because the you know what's messed up? Not messed up in a bad way. Have you heard of the Wonder Twins?
Oh, the one, yeah, I've heard them.
Do you hear they teach? They're like Noble Drew Ali was teaching that we were Israelites, and Moors can't stand them, brothers.
I don't disagree that they can't stand them. They don't like it when I talk about a lot of stuff, right? Like because so they don't like the fact that you can definitely show that Drew Ali's talking about Israelites and he's talking about other nationalities other than Moabites. They get the concept of Moor all mixed up. They think Moor is like they make it way bigger than what it is. You know what I'm saying? They think that Moor applies to everybody, every dark skinned person on the planet, this, that, and the third, and everybody's overarching. I'm like, no, fam, you got to look at the different nations that the prophet's talking about. He says the people that made up the Moroccan Empire, the people who were called Moors. The Moroccan Empire is made up of Moabites, Hittites, Canaanites, Amorites, and Hammatites, right? And so this is what I was saying to her, for instance, the old Jerusalem, thy birth and thy nativities in the land of Canaan, thy father was an Amorite, thy mother a Hittite. You can go back and see where Sarah is the Hittite. She gets buried in a Hittite grave. You can see where Abraham is the Amorite, in the sense to where he becomes confederate with the Amorites in that sense, right? And the overarching thing is Canaanite with that, right? So you can see right there, and that in those three nations within the five that make up the Moroccan Empire, it's telling you the historical fact that Israelites were part of that whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So like it's not, this is what I'm saying. I hate the beef of like you all have to be this one thing. No, the scrolls don't say that, but the scrolls do say who we are.
Yeah. Well, they do. I'm gonna go back and check on the Sarah thing. You know, I mean, but like I said, we already mixed them. The Book of Judges already tells you that in Chronicles we mix with Canaanites and Moabites and Ishmaelites and Egyptians and whatever. So we're always a mixed multitude.
Right.
It's so all this Israel's they gotta look like Wesley Snipes. That's a lie. It's just a flat out lie, and you can't prove it with the scripture. You can't do it.
Right.
So there's going to be Jakes. There's going to be Israelites that look like freaking Screech, look like freaking Brad Pitt. That's just. It's just Marley. Bob Marley would fit. He looks like a so-called Negro, but his father was an Edomite. I mean, I still love him. He's a great musician. I'm not saying anything. I still buy his. Still one of my heroes, musical heroes. But if it comes time for the register, he's going to be on Team Edom. But whatever, his mom was a Jake. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But the point of the matter, that's the point of the matter. So, or about the Chinese, they're Hamites, but they don't look like, they don't look like Africans, but they are.
Well, at one point they did though too. Like, so you can go into like the samurai history of Japan, right? And in the what family the Tamuramaro family in the Tamura clan in Japan, right? They'll claim descendancy. They'll claim descendancy from a shogunate that descends from an African clan of Chinese by way of Korea, right? They come in dealing with, like, we were talking about like the different classes of Japanese that were there that weren't just all one nation anywhere. Like, who were they?
Yeah. You're talking about Sakanoye Tamarada.
Yeah, you got it. Him and his father.
He was a Jake. And his feet. There's some brothers here in Japan that went to go visit his shrine, and there's a statue of him.
Yeah.
He's a black dude.
Yeah, all
and
day.
His feet
huge.
And they would go get him to go kill
the Emishi people. The Ainu and the Emishi.
Yeah. But he was like a champion.
Yeah.
But if you read in the Torah, the word shamare is samurai. It means guardian or protector.
I'm with all right. It means the same thing, right? With the bushi and the samurai and all that, right? The buki.
And shogun. The shogun is another word. Shaga means excellent man or mighty man.
Right.
And that's what it's the same thing. So, but look
at this. When they went there, right? So look at this whole deal, family. When they go there, they are the buke or the bukejin, right? When they go to Japan, and Japan is originally called Morapu in this situation, right? Like it's a whole nother conversation with that, right? Or Wakoku if you want to, right? A whole nother, the land of the little dark people, right? The little black people, right? That's called that in the annals of China, whatever, right? Wakoku. When the samurai get there, right? They're African descent from the Shah or Shang dynasty in China by way of Korea. They get there, right? And again, they're tall. Their swords are way longer than they're like the tachi, the really long katana, right? But when they get there, they're of a whole different ruling class. They're seen like the history of the buke in Japan is like the regular people, you bow your head when they walk past. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You like they have like a royal status, but they're not, like, it's a whole different thing. They're almost like what's the word? Like they had a diplomatic immunity in a sense, right? Like they were treated like they were almost royal in a sense, right?
Yes.
But yeah, that's a whole another thing. But they knew who they were, and the whole concept of buke, right? And you can even find it to where bu, you can have that going back into the Chinese to where it goes back into bai or bei, right? And it goes into the concept of white. And again, you can find people in China today who are Chinese Muslims who have the same martial arts style and rock with the same swords that the samurai went into Japan with, right? They're called the Bai people, right? And then they infuse two things, being Muslim and the concept of white meaning purity, all in the same thing, right? But you can also see the concept of where that word it used to be one of the ruling factions of China in the concept of Beijing or Peking or Peking, or Beijing as it's called now, right? It was the Northern Kingdom, the rulership of the Northern Kingdom. But anyway, you got to go to bed, bro. We'll keep building all day if we don't stop, bro.
Yeah, it's like 5:35. I think the tribe of Dan came here to Japan. because Dan left on ships, and they're merchant people. They were merchant people, and they were a small band of warrior people. They were like a small warrior people. Like people were scared of them.
I would
Now,
love to
what
build on
people on Earth do you know that has 15,000 different martial arts styles? There's nobody else but Japanese people that have multiple martial art, uh, kendo, karate, aikido, which is new. You have so many martial art things, whatever. And then we have this place called Osaka, and Osaka's a merchant city. And if you go there, the people there, they act like Negroes. They're like they dress real loud colors. They're real friendly, real aggressive, and the rest of Japan, they look at Osaka as like these are different people. But so I think Dan came here to Japan. So there's like a Negroid kind of strain here in Japan, whatever. But yeah, man, Japan's like a very, very mysterious place, man. They be lying though, because once England came here and they introduced the what do you call it, the in India they have the caste system. England came here and they introduced the caste system in Japan, and then they started putting like people on the bottom, you know, baraku and all that. So yeah, man, it's you know, who is this?
Oh, I'm just showing some different depictions of what people look like from some Chinese stuff during the time period, from showing the different colors and what different people look like in different spots in China and Japan.
Well, Isaiah 45 verse 12 says that Israel also was in Sayane, or China, in the Far East.
So right, that's what I'm talking about, the whole Canaanite priesthood concept, right? Like so when the Canaanites get execrated, right? Then it says they get sent abroad, and when you get into the names of the sons of Canaan, it breaks down like the different aspects of the priesthood in a lot of different ways. For instance, like the name Jebus or Yebus means like the threshing floor, for instance, right? Like you can get into all the different aspects of the sons and whatnot, right? But they're sent abroad. You know what I'm saying? And one of the sons that's sent abroad is sin, right? Like so, it also says that their dominion goes into a place called Lasha, right? Or Lasa, one of the, I forget, it's Lasha or Lasa, something like that, right? But like most scholars have no idea where that's at, right? They say we have no clue where it's at. But if you actually go check out, damn, there we go. Like so, Lasa is actually we talk about like the Tibetan monks and all kind of stuff in our literature, right? Lasa is literally a place, or Lasha is literally a place in Tibet/China. You know what I'm saying? So like the dominion of the Canaanites went this far. You know what I'm saying? The Sinites, like you're talking about, like Sinites, this is where they went. This is the Bible literally talks about the dominion being that far. Where's Lasha? Let me find it real quick, because the modern day people have no clue where Lasha is at. Bam. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, and we know how far east that is, right? As thou comest to Gerar and to Gaza, blah blah blah, that goes into Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zoim, even unto Lasha, right? But like they have no modern scholars says, or all of them say we have no earthly idea where that's at, and they always speculate. None of them, like we have no clue where that's at.
Well, hey, we try to tell them, we're like, bro, a lot of those Chinese are Canaanites or so-called Africans,
right?
We just don't believe it. Well, I mean, first off, the Chinese are going back to Africa anyways. They're over there making business and infrastructure with Africans right now. So
all day long, dropping billions in Africa, dropping billions.
And they're marrying the women
all day, all day.
You know. But yeah, man, how do I'll try to upload this. Can you put this on in Facebook so I can upload it on my channel too? Because I'm sure people want to. My new channel doesn't have very many subscribers, but my main channel in September will get strikes taken away, so I can upload everything on my new channel. You know, but we're gonna have you on, and Imam Bashir is not gonna come on, bro. Like I don't think anymore.
He's not gonna deal with me anymore. We've had 4 debates in 3 sessions, and it's gotten. You've seen him, bro. He's not gonna deal with me anymore. But yeah, I will come on whenever you want to come on, brother, man. And I got a couple brothers who will come on too. So
yeah, please bring them on so we can have a building session, man.
Will do. Whatever you want
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
man.
Well, if you're free Shabbat, no problem. I'll try to like have it earlier, because I know you said that after 10 it's
No,
gonna.
I can like so during the weekend I was able to figure out a way to where like if it's your show, I'll be able to come in on my phone versus my computer, and I'll just be able to go into my to a vehicle and just shut the doors real quick and be okay. You know what I'm saying? So I can do that all day.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll title it something dope like Israelites and Moor building session. You're
Sure, we'll do, man.
ready to
Man,
divide, man. They really are. They act like they ain't, but they are.
no, for real.
And they're not even like keeping the Quran. They don't even like I see you talking about the Quran and you're getting into the linguistics. You're like the only Moor I've seen pretty much do that. These other dudes is on some other stuff. So
Right.
like I can't, we can't rock with those types. But yeah, but I see you're on your studies, bro, and that's what's up.
Yeah, you're the only Israelite I'm seeing who's like the math on how you break down a temple. Like I was like, whoa, like just the illustrations you deal with, fam. Y'all gotta go check out my man's channel. Just go check out his stuff or whatever old videos you can find or whatever, fam. Like go look at him because they'll have you rethinking some stuff for real.
Bro, that channel got taken down, bro. You can thank the black boule for that, bro. They want to keep our people deaf, dumb, and blind so they can make money off.
You don't have anything on this channel. You don't got anything on this channel right here that you got or
oh yeah, I'm building it back up. But temple videos and put them back up again. Like I gotta reshoot them, but I got two. I got Judah Natzarah 9, Judah Natzarah, and Judah Natzarah Part 3. But Part 3 has nothing really on it. It's just they get rid of the Torah, bro. Like believe that they want to get rid of the Torah. Like they don't. They don't want it around, bro. Like they want people deaf, dumb, and blind. So it is what it is, bro. So if you guys can find me, you know what I'm saying? Like I notice I have like over 4,000 subscribers. My channel gets terminated, and then all of a sudden, like, go check my subscriptions now.
Yeah, go check this out, family. Yeah, go check out this build right here.
Getting like 30,000. Yeah, that's yeah. Oh, see that right there, the Debate Talk for You radio.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice that whenever I'm up, when I'm not on there, nobody watches. But these dudes try to like destroy my channel. They're the ones who got my channel taken down. Debate Talk for You, the boule, like them weird Mason Negroes. But it is what it is, man.
Actually, the first video I saw you was you going in on them. That was the very first video I saw you. Then I was like, who's this, bro? Let me go check out his stuff.
Oh, we still about to get them. We're about to get them niggas out of here. I'm like, they gotta go, bro. Them dudes. That my channel was not just for Torah nights; it was for everybody. So people are hitting me up. They're like, "Yo, man, I feel like there's a void now." Like, they're like, "I used to watch your videos on my way to work," and they're like, "These dudes, like, I hate these dudes." I'm like, "Don't worry, bro. We're gonna get rid of them." Like, they know it too. They had like a whole bunch of people come in and just like talk trash about me for like 2 or 3 hours, and now nobody wants to watch that show anymore because they're like, you dudes ain't real. Like the dudes ain't real. I debated a Christian dude on the teachings of Yahweh Shah, and he called Yahweh Shah's teachings witchcraft. He calls himself a Christian. So now it begs a question, like, what Jesus are you talking about? Because he didn't even know the gospel, the Bashar, which is the Torah, basically. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all he taught was the Torah. But these dudes, Judah Natzarah, he's making money. I don't make no money. I don't ask for donations. I don't ask anybody for anything. I just teach the Torah because I love to teach, and that's it. But they're like, Judah Natzarah, he's taking money. He's a CIA agent. He's a Freemason. He's in Kabbalah. He's a witch. He's a homosexual. He's a transgender. He's a East Indian. He's a Muslim. I'm like, man, you dudes are just wicked as hell. So, but that's why the Israelite movement's in the state of stagnation that it's in. If you go type in Hebrew Israelites, and I'll bet you anything, whenever video comes up, it's going to be whatever holiday comes up. That's what they're going to talk about. No 4th of July, no Christmas, no Halloween. They do this every year because they have nothing else to talk about. They don't know the Torah. They don't know science, mathematics, geometry, biology, science. They don't know any of that. So, but man, maybe this is a sign. Maybe Yahweh's trying to get you and us together and other brothers so we can build and you know, get the intellect department going, because Israelites are on some folly right now, and the Moors I'm seeing, I can't even watch them anymore. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. And the
just
wheat needs to get
folly.
separated from the chaff. This is the time that we're in right now. It's the wheat getting separated from the chaff. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
the Most High is going to bring the sincere together to make the work happen.
Well, let's do it, bro.
Yes, sir.
That's what we gotta do. All right, man. I'll holler at you tomorrow, bro.
All right, man.
So please put this video in so I can upload it on my channel too, so everyone can see it too. And what? Today's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Here,
So
right.
so where do you want me to put it? You can rip it if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah, I'm just trying to find your channel so I can upload it on my channel too.
okay, no worries. All right, man.
And then so yeah, so bring the brothers on too, so we can on the Shabbat, so we can all build too.
I'll do my best.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, brother. Have a good morning or good night. I don't know what time it is over there. But it's almost 6 o'clock in the morning here.
It's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon here.
Oh shoot. Okay.
All right, man.
All right. Well, have a
all right, man. Shalom, Mike.
and shalom to everybody out there. All right, shalom.